Too strong. It's going to be a rebound there by Brown. Brown gets it in. Bucket there by Alter.
Crossover for Jackson. Salas steals the rebound and finds a cutting Mitchell at the rim.
Great move.
It's almost even in the foul territory, and the Cueva looking to take advantage. Said Yates draws the foul, and one opportunity is said, gives the muscles down.
And it's 11-4, 38. Another turnover by Rio Grande. Montoya off the glass, up and in, back-to-back layups for the Demons.
Oh, was stolen away again by Valdez. Valdez going to bring it out.
Valdez has to have around 3 or 4 steals. 3 by Mays.
Bingo! That one rattles in for Alyssa Mays, and the All-District Player of the Year has 12.
Drive.
Voted the best sports show in New Mexico
For 5 years running. It's the OD in the AM with Jeff Symbieta, A. Marie Castillo, and JJ Buck.
Lamar still wants out of Baltimore. Lamar Jackson, the quarterback. He wants that big contract. He represents himself, and he's getting a little bit more. Vocal's not the word. When you use your thumbs to speak, what is it? Is it vocal? What's the word? Give me the word to replace vocal. Good morning to you, by the way. It's the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck, A. Marie. So if you speak, you're vocal, right? We're vocal. If you use your thumbs, you're using the Twitter, what are you? You're
communicating?
All right. Communicative? All right. He's getting a little more communicative through the social media. Good morning. What's happening? How you living?
What it do?
It's good, man. I was out there yesterday. I called the walk-off home run by Jake Holland. I didn't call Jake Holland. But coming out when the Lobos didn't score in the bottom of the 8th, they said, well, you guys, I was with a bunch of Lobo people. I said, you guys are set up for a walk-off. So you just hold them here and you get a walk-off.
Look at that.
And there they come in the bottom of the 9th. I said, all right, here comes your walk-off. Jake Holland, gone. Walk-off. Beat 20th ranked team in the country. So they've beaten 2 ranked teams already New Mexico has in baseball. They beat Oregon State to open the season, right?
They have.
And they beat Texas Tech. They lost 6-3 the other day out in Lubbock, and then they beat them here 11-10. It's a good win for Todd's team, and now they get back in that conference play. Look at San Diego State this weekend. All right, so start here today in the NFL. And Lamar Jackson, you've said it, and I've said it, and I do believe that this is part of the reason why teams are a little bit more, I don't know if loathe is the right word, but a little bit trepidatious, a little cautious in regards to giving Lamar this gigantic contract, because he's missed 4 or 5 games. Like, he's missed 10 of his last 22 games or something along those lines. And he has missed games, right? His durability, right? You've talked about it. I've talked about it. I think that's one of the reasons. Are we wrong?
No, it's absolutely fair talking point because of what we saw last year.
Okay. Lamar has requested a trade, and he's on the social media defending why he didn't play in last season's playoff game. Now, I'm not sure I totally understand it all, but here it is on the tweeter. Let's get real. I have a 100% PCL. I'd rather have a 100% PCL than go out there and play horrible, forcing myself to put guys in a bad situation. Now, that's selfish to me. Wait, let me rephrase that, because that wasn't a question. Can I read it again? Because I did a really poor job. The tweet says, quote, let's get real. I'd rather have a 100% PCL than go out there and play horrible, forcing myself to put my guys in a bad situation. Now that's selfish to me. I don't remember me sitting out on my guys week 1 versus Jets to week 12 versus Broncos. How come all of a sudden I sit out because of money, in which I could have got hurt at any time within that time frame, when we know the Super Bowl been on my mind since April 2018, end quote. What does that mean to you? I mean, other than, man, I'm not.
Right. Lamar is frustrated, and he is not doing a good job of just sitting back and letting things happen.
I think he thought when he represented himself, he was going to walk in a room and get stuff done, right?
Mhm.
Here I am. Here's my case. It's obvious. Pay me like you pay one of the best players in the league, right? Sprained his left knee in December, right? Remember we thought he'd miss 2 to 3 games. Lamar's out for a little bit, but he'll be back. He was sidelined for the final 6 games, including the loss of the playoffs to the Bengals. So he missed 6. 3 days before that playoff game, he ruled himself out. Remember, he had a tweet that said it remains unstable. The injury was more serious than originally believed. So now it sounds like he's saying, well, I sat out because of money. Is that what I just read? How did you read that? All of a sudden, I sit out because of money, which I could have gotten hurt at any time within the time frame. Then he's got.
No, he's saying he didn't sit out because of money. He's saying he sat out because it was 100%. Because this is what happens, is the stories are leaking that maybe he has bad sleep habits or nutrition. Like, okay, that's not a plant from somewhere.
My God.
All right, interpret
Come
this for me,
on.
because this is where I'm asking for help if I'm reading it wrong. I don't remember me sitting out on my guys week 1 to week 12 versus Broncos. How come all of a sudden I sit out because of money, in which I could have got hurt at any time within that time frame? Is he saying you're saying I'm sitting out because of money, but I
Yes.
could have got hurt?
Yes.
Is that what that
saying
says?
he was hurt and not
You didn't want to
sitting
risk.
out because
How
of
come
the
all of a
contract.
sudden I sit out because of
Not
money?
praised well, but that's what he's saying. He's saying I was playing last season, and then I got hurt,
Right.
and then when I got hurt, people assumed that
It was because
I didn't come back because of money.
Okay. All right. That's why I'm
So
asking
it
for
seems
help.
like he's addressing rumors.
Really poorly, by the way.
Yes.
Really poorly. Look, I'm not going to tell anybody how to run their life. He should get an agent.
Or at least a publicist, PR, or something.
Something, man. I mean, we all think we're smart. We got to realize our blind spots. Don't you think?
Also, I would think that's the stuff you don't want to worry about. You just want to focus on your game and other things. But to each their own.
Do you remember back at the end of the regular season, Ravens general manager Eric DeCosta was asked whether or not him sitting out was because of the contract? And DeCosta said, quote, Lamar can speak to that, but my feeling is no. I think Lamar was hurt. It was just bad timing, and I think bad luck for us and bad luck for Lamar, end quote. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That was the thought then. Look, man.
Well, what's Lamar Jackson's one of his biggest traits? His athleticism,
Okay.
his ability in the run game.
Yeah.
And if he has a bad knee,
No, I get it.
then that limits who he is as a quarterback.
I got no problem if a guy's hurt, he doesn't play. None. And I don't even know that there were a lot of people that think he was jaking it, that were saying he was sitting out because of money. I think that was a minority of people.
But now he's realizing that when it comes to contract talks, there's going to be a whole lot of noise and a whole lot of things thrown at that wall because not everyone is on your side, Lamar Jackson.
Well, you know how we talk about combines, we talk about players, we talk about guys, how fast can they run, how high can they jump, and that's great, but put on the tape and see how they play, right? Because now you've got a track record, you've got something to look at. Part of putting on the tape, part of the track record, part of the resume with Lamar is, whether he wants it or not, is that he's missed 10 of his last 22 games. That's just part of the deal. And now it's out there publicly, and one of the teams that we keep talking about that should be on that list, why aren't they making an offer, is Atlanta, correct?
Yes.
Atlanta Falcons owner Arthur Blank questioned his durability. Quote, and remember the owners are all together, right? So remember that's what's going on this week, and that's why there's so many owners and coaches talking. Quote from Arthur Blank, owner of the Falcons. Looking at it objectively, there is some concern about whether or not he can play his style of game for how long can that last? I'm not sure. He's only 26, hopefully a long time for his benefit or anybody that he's signed with, but he's missed 5 to 6 games each of the last 2 years. This is not like baseball and basketball. We're playing 82 or 182 games or whatever baseball's playing now, end quote. I mean, there it is, man. There it is, what you and I have been saying. Obviously, the owners are thinking and saying as well. He continued, I think Lamar's situation, and I don't really want to spend a whole lot of time talking about players on other clubs, but Lamar's situation, I think, is very different. A different player, different time, end quote. Because he was asked about a year ago, the Falcons were in in the mix on the Deshaun Watson stuff. He went to the Browns. He set that $230 million fully guaranteed deal. Arthur Blank was not happy about that, but he said he didn't want to compare the two. So if we're saying it here, and Arthur Blank's saying it now at the owners' meetings, I mean, that's what's going on in everywhere. The question's been everywhere, and every show you put on, and you as football fans sitting in your office or sitting around the bar or sitting with your buddies. Why has nobody put in an offer sheet for Lamar, right? I think there's your answer. I think Arthur Blank told you what owners, and I know it's just one, but where the concern is, and it's everything that you and I have been talking about.
It is worst case scenario for Lamar Jackson because there's absolutely something that's not made up, that is real, that he has to address, and it's the missed games leading up to this moment.
No.
Because that is the reason why they're like, we're not guaranteeing this man X amount of money.
Why
and so
wouldn't
it's worst case scenario for him because he's got nothing. Even if he finished both seasons and maybe had one playoff win, maybe not a great performance, still look at like, hey, look at my body of work, who I am. I'm 26 years old and play at a high level and give you the opportunity to compete. But now there's that, hold up.
Yeah.
You've missed games and you want how much money? No, thank you.
Your body of work does include an MVP. Your body of work also includes 2 seasons where you missed multiple games. And in a season where there's 16 or 17 now games and you miss 4 or 5 games, that's basically a quarter of the season.
Got to be available at the end of the year.
And
you can miss games in a year.
Yeah.
Plenty of quarterbacks do.
That's right.
Only 11 quarterbacks started every game last season.
Yep.
But it's timing.
Yep. And it's at the end of the year. And that's something you got to work with. So here's where Lamar's going to have to go. And if Lamar's going to sign a big deal, nobody is going to give him that $230 million guaranteed like Deshaun Watson got and nobody else got. If Lamar believes in himself so much, he's going to end up in the area of $38 to $44 million a year. Pretty good money. With incentives that say if you play every game, if you get us to the playoffs, if you win playoff games, there's going to be bonuses, right? And so many of you keep telling me that's the way contracts should be, and I listen to that. You get a really solid, I mean, I don't know, I think we all believe $33, $38 million would be a nice solid base, right? Would you be good with that? And then incentives off the top of that? But I think that's where it's going to be, and I'm going to go back to the agent thing. You know, that's where some perspective for Lamar might help. To your point, an agent / somebody to help him with public relations and
manager, whatever you want to give the
Herm
title.
Edwards saying don't push, right? I mean, I don't know. Did these tweets help him? I know he's trying to defend himself. Look, if people are clapping back at you, you want to defend yourself.
Yep.
I do, right? But sometimes I just sit back there and just laugh at some of the mess that's out there. And if you're him, it's hard to. Got a big show for you today. 505-246-0610. That is the 377 Brewery hotline. It is also the text line, 505-246-0610. Emails will come in this morning, as they always do. Jeff at sportsanimалabq.com. JJ at sportsanimалabq.com. On the Facebook, it's the OD and the AM. Of course, Adrian's producing on television and Comcast Channel 26. You can watch us on our Facebook page through ProView Networks. Big stuff today. Final Four starts on Saturday. NIT last night. Did you watch the 2 NIT games?
UAB Utah Valley was really good
They
basketball.
were both entertaining. They were both really good, and Conference USA is now threatening to rule the college basketball world. So we're going to talk about that next, and then at 8:30 this morning, Jerry Palm will be with us from CBS Sports, normally on Thursday, but he's traveling to Houston tomorrow. So Jerry Palm with us today at 8:30. We'll talk about the Final Four, how we got here, and how on earth has Conference USA, the Aggies' new conference, threatened to take over the basketball world on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
How wrestling really...
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With your covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust. and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At U.S. Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Check it out.
What is it?
It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early.
I already get my paycheck early at U.S. Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with U.S. Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with U.S. Eagle.
Time machine.
Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes.
Wait, what? Seth?
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com today.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth that's real tough, backed by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area.
I know when Conference USA teams come into the pit, Louisville fans kind of boo-hoo it a little, right? Poo-poo it. What's the word I'm looking for? You've had UAB. We played, well, I say we because I was at that game. They played UAB in the Christmas tournament, or not Christmas, the Thanksgiving tournament 2 seasons ago at the Orleans. Lost UAB. When you've had North Texas in, you've had FAU last year, right? FAU, the Final Four team. Now, it's really a weird time in Conference USA because what's going on, right? I mean, you just don't think of them as a basketball. I mean, who's the best basketball power in that league? And you kind of scratch your head. And I would tell you traditionally, it's probably been Western Kentucky, right? With some of the most success. But you have, they're going to win 2 of the 3 legs of the Triple Crown, and they could win 4. And you're like, what 4? They could win all 3. What am I talking about? Well, the NCAA tournament, the 3 college postseason tournaments, the NCAA, the NIT, and the CBI. Charlotte won the CBI. They are going to win the NIT because North Texas beat Wisconsin last night. They'll play UAB, who beat Utah Valley in overtime. So those are 2 Conference USA teams going at each other. By the way, that Utah Valley team out of the WAC that came in here the other day ended up being pretty good, didn't they?
They're pretty good.
I watched that game last night. I mean, they're nice. Mark Madsen's probably gone. It sounds like he's a leading candidate at Cal to be the head coach. So they're going to win the NIT. They won the CBI, and they've got a team in the Final Four, FAU. No, I don't think, and I don't know that you do, that FAU is going to win this whole thing. But, I mean, as wide open as this is, FAU can win the damn national championship, can they?
Yes, they could.
Yeah.
There's 4 teams left.
And they got through a lot of turmoil to get to where they are. So who'd they beat? They beat Kansas State. They beat Tennessee. They beat Fairleigh Dickinson, and they beat Memphis. I don't know who had the toughest road. All I know is you beat who's in front of you, and everybody in front of you is a champion of something, right? They're pretty good. We can talk about who had the toughest road later. It's really weird, though. I was watching the NIT yesterday, and they showed a picture of Judy McLeod, the conference commissioner of Conference USA. And I know Judy a little bit. I wouldn't say I know her really, really well, but I give her a lot of credit. And JJ, you and I had this conversation off the air the other day. What she did to keep that league together, I don't know it was miraculous, but it's pretty close, right? Because that league was dead.
It was dead.
And the weird part is all these teams we're talking about are leaving Conference USA. North Texas, UAB, Charlotte, and FAU are all going to the American next year. And so Conference USA will keep all of the postseason money. And New Mexico State, who didn't even finish their basketball program, will benefit from this. And good for New Mexico State. I'm stoked for that, right? But the teams going into the Conference USA next year will be Sam Houston State and New Mexico State and Liberty and Jacksonville State and the hell am I forgetting? Kennesaw State goes in, I believe, the year after. Okay. But JJ, I don't know how Conference USA became Basketball Central America, but good on them. These coaches are going to get paid now. Andy Kennedy, the coach at UAB, is a proven good coach. He was at Ole Miss for a long time. The coach at North Texas is probably going to get the job at Texas Tech. Charlotte has done a heck of a job. I mean, what our guys doing down at Florida Atlantic's unbelievable.
They had 3 really good teams. In Florida Atlantic, North Texas, UAB. The numbers backed it up, and then you saw what Charlotte was able to do.
Backed it up all season, though, didn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it was... I'm not going to lie to you. I peripherally watched scores. I didn't pay a lot of attention to Conference USA basketball. Did you?
I didn't.
I saw what FAU was doing, and I caught 2 of their games partially, and I'm like, okay, they look really nice. Crying out loud, they're 35-3. 35-3. Now the teams that are going to stay, it's going to be interesting to see what that league is next year, right? Rice, Western Kentucky, FIU, Louisiana Tech, and UTEP. None of them were over 500.
It ain't the same league.
No, it ain't the same league. And so adding New Mexico State, look, they're going into a different league, and this is where you and I have had this conversation, right? And it's not about did they make the right move. They made the right move because there's a football home, right? But Rice, Western Kentucky, Florida International, Louisiana Tech, UTEP, with the addition of New Mexico State, Liberty, Sam Houston, Jacksonville State, is that a better league than the WAC? And I don't think that's an easy answer, right? In fact, the WAC, JJ, might be better than what's left there as currently constructed, but we'll see, as they go on. But man, oh man, where did that come from? Pretty nice. It's pretty nice.
And Rice won't be in there in a few years.
Yeah, no, Rice is gone. So it's Western Kentucky, Florida International, Louisiana Tech, and UTEP. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Rice is going to the American as well. It's crazy, isn't it? All right, you just found a name in the transfer portal. Where'd you see that? You were looking at the transfer portal stuff?
Yeah, if you hit refresh every 5 minutes, 11 more names in the transfer portal.
All right, so you see any interesting names as you're watching that?
Mike Peake. Mexico State Aggie.
That kind of piques your interest, doesn't it? Mike Peake. How much eligibility does he have left? This last year counts, right? Against him? So he's probably got his COVID year yet? Mike Peake, the former New Mexico State basketball player who was the player that was shot in the incident back in November on UNM's campus. He's in the transfer portal. That's interesting. All right. I appreciate you keep scouring that thing, by the way, to make sure that we're on the top of it.
It's wild. You'll see one. They'll have it up. I'm like, oh, it's been 7 minutes. Let me refresh. 6 more names.
Is that right?
Yes.
Is that on verbal commits?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. All right, when we come back, the NFL is looking at flexing Thursday games. What does that mean, and why should you care? And where is that whole thing? I'm going to explain it to you and why it matters to you. That's when we come back.
And you have to get over to 377 Brewery. I tell you about it every day. It keeps getting better and better. And with this beautiful weather heading our way this week, you got to get out there because they have a beautiful patio. It's gorgeous and a big, beautiful event space where they open their garage doors. And it's just lovely. You got to check out their brunch. It's every Sunday from 9 to 1. It includes all your breakfast favorites. It's a top-rated kitchen. It's 100%, almost 100% scratch kitchen, made to order. And it features a mimosa and Bloody Mary bar. You got to get out there. It's family-friendly, dog-friendly. Stop by on the northwest corner of Yale and Gibson for a brunch, again, Sunday 9 to 1, or check them out at 377brewery.com.
The Albuquerque Journal and
too strong. It's going to be a rebound there by Brown. Brown gets it in. Bucket there by Alter.
Crossover for Jackson. Salas steals the rebound and finds a cutting Mitchell at the rim.
Great move.
It's almost even in the foul territory, and the Cueva looking to take advantage. Said Yates draws the foul, and one opportunity is said, gives the muscles down.
And it's 11-4, 38. Another turnover by Rio Grande. Montoya off the glass, up and in, back-to-back layups for the Demons.
Oh, was stolen away again by Valdez. Valdez going to bring it out.
Valdez has to have around 3 or 4 steals. 3 by Mays.
Bingo! That one rattles in for Alyssa Mays, and the All-District Player of the Year has 12.
Penetrates, no foul called. Rodriguez lines one up and knocks down the 3. First basket of the night.
Wants to back it out.
Look at this deep 3.
Wow! That was from NBA range.
What a steal. Stevison 2-on-1, gets up, gets it in.
He doesn't use it. Comes back out to Dominguez, who takes the three. Boom! There's that man, Superman.
Turns, shoots off. Oh, he made that.
Wow. That was crazy. That was a crazy shot.
Has everybody on him. Now he got open.
Open look for a three, and that's what he does. A three for Dennerclaw. His first bucket of the game. And that's a three, and it'll count at the buzzer.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With your covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
All right, you like Thursday night games, right? I don't know that you do or not. Thursday night football. I've never been a fan. I watch them because we all watch them because we all have fantasy football.
Yeah, we're going to watch.
I mean, we're all going to watch.
We're going to watch. It's football.
I don't love the Thursday night NFL. Been very clear about that. I loved when it was college football on Thursday night and we got good games. But all right, it's here. We've adapted. We get Thursday night. You watch it via the Amazon package. Opening drive, Jeff, JJ, and A-Marie. So I think you're familiar with the flex and what that means. But if not, let me explain it to you. So it's round and about reason why New Mexico Bowl was played in prime time on ABC this year, because the NFL flexed a game out and moved the schedule. A flex means the network, and on the Sunday night case would be NBC, and in the case we're talking about on Thursday would be Amazon, would have an opportunity to flex out of a game and into another game. Meaning, towards the end of the season, what happened, I'll give you the example. So the Sunday night game, the week of New Mexico Bowl, was going to be the Raiders hosting the Patriots. And I think they get a 15-day or, well, in that case, it was a 12-day window. And in the case of this Thursday they're talking about, it would be 15 days because it's such an odd day you have to move back to play on Thursday. But for Sunday night, it would be a 12-day window. The network would have a 15-day window for Thursdays to inform the NFL, nope, we don't want that Raiders-Patriots game. Instead, we want the Dolphins and Bills, right? And that's what they opted into. And the NFL says, okay, and they call them. And so why did that affect us? The Raiders game got moved back during the day. There wasn't enough time to flip the Las Vegas Bowl field into the Raiders, and we swapped spots. But the point is the flexing situation. Does that make sense? Did I explain that all right? For people who don't understand flexing in
Yes.
television terms? Okay. So Amazon wants the opportunity to flex Thursday night games. And I just think this is a bad idea on a number of fronts, and I'll tell you why. But I'll tell you where they are first. So the owners opted not to vote on this rule yesterday. They tabled it. They agreed to modify the existing rule, though, and allow teams to play a maximum of 2 short week games. Right now, they're only allowed to play 1 game on Thursday. And that's right. Nobody wants to play on the short week. I think the football suffers We talk about the violence of the game. We talk about player safety.
Wasn't that also due to make sure everyone had to play one Thursday night game?
No, I think that's right. Everybody was going to be on a Thursday night game. Right.
Now, there's just be some teams that don't have to play on Thursday.
Well, but if you have 17 weeks, so 17 times 2 is 34. There's only 32 teams. Right?
But you can play up to 2 times.
You can play up to 2 times, which means everybody won't get the exposure. Right. And that's what Brian Rolap, the executive vice president for the NFL for chief media and business, he said they want to make sure that everybody gets exposure, that all of their clubs get exposure. Quote, we also believe these national windows are for clubs that are playing well. We want to put the best teams in those best windows. End quote. I would argue that I don't know that Thursday's the best window. Here's an issue. And I ask you all the time when we have conversations, for whom are we doing this, right? I think it is so brutal for fans. And this is where I think, so you and I disagree when it comes to NFL load management. And I say, what about the kid? What about the family who buys 1 ticket a year and goes to a game and the Lakers are coming into Indiana and it's a Tuesday night and LeBron's sitting. Oh, sorry, kid. It's just how it is. And that's kind of been the answer. And it's hard for me to accept that one. The NFL is a league where you have regional teams. And Amory, you're going to get this. But anybody who lives here, okay, there's no NFL team in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Minnesota Vikings are the regional team for the Dakotas, that whole upper Midwest region.
Yep.
People buy tickets, they pick a game, right? And whatever fits into their schedule. Okay, my son's football season is going to be over by November 15th. We're going to buy a ticket for the December 3rd game, and they're playing the Lions, and it's going to be great, and we're going up, and we're making a trip on Sunday, and then 12 days, and we're coming from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and that's a 4.5-hour drive, whatever, right? Whatever, right? Maybe it's 15, I don't even know. And then all of a sudden, 15 days out, they get, well, the game's on Thursday night, and you bought those tickets, and I know it's a minimal factor, but I think it's way more of a fan base than you think. If you go into a stadium and you've been to NFL games, if there's 60,000 people in that stadium, I'm going to tell you that there's at least 15,000 to 20,000 who traveled 3 hours or more to get there.
Oh, definitely. And away fans, too.
Right? Here, Cowboy fan, Bronco fan, Cardinal fan, whatever, Ram fan, whatever you are, how many people do you know that make their plans? Like I remember the game that I'm talking about, the Raiders game against the Patriots. Kiki was going. Kiki from down the hall over at Q. We call it Q now, right? Right? KBFM?
Q, yeah.
She was going, and her and her husband, and they were going for that night game, and it kind of threw off their plans. And I know it's a minimal thing, but you keep taking away stuff from your fans. And plus, I just don't think it's better football on Thursday night than it is in the primetime window. Now, I understand that Amazon paid a big chunk of money, and they want the best product they can. And I understand we're walking a fine line. Do you think I'm just way off on this fan thing?
You're not way off. You're right on. I think there is a percentage of fans that do plan that one trip a year. You're right on point.
I know there are, right? I mean, when
I do it every year.
Yeah, when I was living in the Northwest, right? People go from Spokane or Tri-Cities or Yakima, and they would buy. It was a big deal to drive the 3.5 hours over to Seattle to go watch the Seahawks play. It was a big family. They get one game a year.
Yeah, when the schedule comes out, that's what I do as well.
Yeah. I mean, for you, when you start taking Austin to games, right? You're going to pick a game. You're going to all right, this is our weekend. We're going to the Broncos.
It's different when you flex from Sunday afternoon to Sunday night.
Right. But to Thursday, it's a big deal.
But Thursday, no one wants to play Thursday anyway. They're not going to be flexing those games.
What do you mean they're not going to? I mean, they're talking about it.
That's why they tabled it. Because it is a bigger shift in everything schedule-wise for the teams, the players, the fans that are involved. Because you'd have to put an extended window on it. Like, it had to be more than 2 weeks. You'd have to be at least 21 days out or something like that, because that's a dramatic change. That's a 3-day preparation for a football team.
Yeah. No, it changes everything you do. And for the fans, I think the flex on Sunday night affects them, but it affects them to a point, like, I'll give you where it affects them. So that Viking game that I was telling you about, you're driving in from Sioux Falls, and it's going to be snowy on a Sunday, but they're playing that afternoon game, and you're gonna be back home by 10:30 at night. Now all of a sudden, kickoff, they flex it into the Sunday night game, and you're like, wait, what? Now I got to get a hotel. We got to miss school on Monday. I got to miss work on Monday.
The Colts Vikings game was flexed this year that I went to.
Right. Flexed out of the NBC window into an afternoon game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost easier that way. Well, it's not even almost. It's 100% easier that way.
But it was flexed a day. It went from Sunday to Saturday.
So that's the other thing they're doing. No, it's a great point. And that affected us as well. The New Orleans Bowl, right? They wanted to go on whatever our date was, that third Saturday in December this year. And the NFL put the Superdome on hold, saying that the Saints could play Saturday or Sunday. And they're going, well, give us an answer. Nope, we reserve the right. And they had to play the New Orleans Bowl on a Wednesday night. Now, I'm kind of glad we don't play in an NFL stadium. Can I just be very clear with you? Because getting a date that time of year is impossible. But yeah, no, they're flexing dates now, 100% in the last 3-4 weeks of the season. All right, 505-246-0610. When we come back, we talk college basketball coaching. A familiar name to Lobo fans got his first head coaching job. Actually, and another familiar name to Lobo fans got another head coaching job, and he flat out earned it. And some of the rumors that are going around swirling that will affect some of the teams that you watch. We'll do that when we come back. Coleman Vision and Stephen Coleman changed my life. I know that's a big statement, and you're like, come on, Jeff. No, the fact that when I was able to see without contacts and lenses and look across a room and drive and look across the landscape and see, if you wear lenses or contacts and you have for years, you get it. If you could just not have to deal with that and open your eyes. And I had LASIK back in 2003. I was dealing with the contacts and the lenses. I was anchoring the morning news. It was a nightmare dealing with it every morning. But I needed lenses just to see the teleprompter. I went to see Dr. Coleman. I had a high level of astigmatism. I had my LASIK. I opened my eyes. I saw the difference immediately. I anchored the news the next morning at 5 o'clock in the morning with no lenses. And I wear reading glasses now because that's just kind of, evolution is going to take over. But haven't worn glasses ever since, and it's been 20 years. If you are wanting to ditch the lenses, you want to change your life, it's Dr. Coleman. Dr. Stephen Coleman's been in on the technology, cutting edge. It's not only used at Coleman Vision, but it's used around the world. And people come from everywhere to Stephen Coleman, to Coleman Vision to get their LASIK done because they know he's the best. And you'll understand that the second you walk in the door, the way you're treated, just the atmosphere of the office. And then when you meet Dr. Coleman, and if you're not a candidate, he'll tell you. He's not going to do something that isn't right. He's become a friend, but he is the best. So if you're thinking about ditching the lenses, you want to change your life, get a consult, go over to see Dr. Coleman. 505-821-8880. That's the number, 505-821-8880, or online. It's colemanvision.com.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Check it out. What is it? It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early. I already get my paycheck early at U.S. Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with U.S. Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with U.S. Eagle.
Time machine. Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes. Wait, what? Seth?
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers. We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Creeper. So what's the going rate for a good basketball coach in Division I these days? It's going up and up, just like everything else. Good morning to you. It's the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta and J.J. Buck. We had a conversation earlier in the week. The UNM and Richard Pitino are discussing an extension. Some of you said, yeah, no, I get it. And some of you are like, well, why? What the hell's he done? He's like the 5th or 6th highest paid coach in his league. Well, Jeff, they finished in 6th place. Yeah. What do you want to be? You want to be top 3? You want to be 5th or 6th? I'm going to give you some perspective as what's going on around college basketball. And I think some of it surprises you. So, JJ, it looks like VCU's coach is leaving. Okay, Mike Rhodes is the VCU coach. And he's going to go to Penn State. I just told JJ this. Amory, what do you think Mike Rhodes was making? VCU, Virginia Commonwealth, they are in the Atlantic 10. What do you think and they made the NCAA tournament. They went out in the first round. They were a 12 seed. Just, Bob, what do you think the head coach at VCU was making? He's leaving to go to Penn State.
600,000.
Okay. All right. JJ, what did you think before I told you that he would be making?
I would assume.
Wait, at Penn State or what?
No, at VCU.
Okay,
at VCU.
I was like, wait.
I'd probably see like 800 or 900.
Yeah. 1.7 million.
Oh, wow.
1.7. And
I didn't think it was in the millions.
yeah, well, I'm just trying to give you perspective on this now, and it's going to come back around. Richard Pitino's making what, about $800,000, and he's right in the middle, maybe lower middle of the Mountain West Conference. All right, he's going to go to Penn State, get north of $3 million. Rodney Terry just signed that deal at Texas. By the way, good for Rodney Terry, the former Fresno State coach. Remember when he left Fresno State? We're all like, so he's leaving Fresno State to go to UTEP? Why? He kind of had it rolling at Fresno. Left UTEP. He was assistant. Took over when Chris Beard got fired at Texas. He just got himself a 5-year, $15.3 million deal. It feels like Texas stole him at that number, doesn't it? With the numbers we're hearing. All right. Perspective. Chris Jans making 2.3 as a base at Mississippi State. $3+ million at Ed Cooley just left Providence. He was making north of $3 million to go make more at Georgetown. Sounds like Ryan Odom now, the head coach at Utah State, the guy who got the Aggies into the NCAA tournament out of the Mountain West, is one of the front runners for the job, both at South Florida and at VCU. Okay. We had the conversation the other day. You guys, how long do you think Richard Pitino's going to be here? I mean, our feeling is as soon as he has a good year, gets him in the NCAA tournament, he's gone, right? And I know Lobo fan doesn't want to think that. Would you have begrudged Richard Pitino this week? Let's just say if it came out this week, and the headline was South Florida hires Richard Pitino, and he's going to go there and he's going to make $1.7 million a year. Would you have begrudged him for that? South Florida, it's a middle of the pack American.
Lobo fans would, yes.
Lobo fans would lose their mind.
Would.
Why?
Because they don't feel that that's a better program than New Mexico.
Correct.
I would agree with them that it's not a better program than New Mexico. Would you agree with that? Okay, South Florida in the American
But
this
it's more
year
money.
finished 7-11 in conference, 14-18 overall. All right, now they're going to go in. They're going to stay in that league that's losing Houston, Cincinnati, and UCF. But Memphis is still going to be there. FAU's coming in, North Texas, all these teams that are doing so well in Conference USA. So that league's going to still be good. I think I would agree, and I think most people would agree, that South Florida, while beautiful place to live in Tampa, is in a better program than New Mexico. But how would you argue with him if you said, well, they're offering me $1.7 million and they're investing in basketball and they're building, new facility and all that? How would you argue with him?
Well, you're never going to win when it comes down to straight base money in the contract. But to say that there's not an investment in basketball at UNM would be
say
hard.
that.
I know, but that was part of what you said.
No, I said they're invested. I'm making the case for why would you take that job.
The case is simple. It's contract.
Well, okay. And I would tell you, look, if I was him, I think I would maybe hold out and say build this here, because if I build this and get them to the NCAA tournament next year, I'm getting probably one of those $3 million jobs next year, right?
I would agree with that.
And if you go there, you probably got to start. Put
South Florida just loves lobbing their line to the Mountain West.
Well, yeah. Remember Craig Neal turned it down. Sounds like Ryan Odom sent up for it.
Lob that line.
Yeah.
See what they can reel in.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will say, well, why this, why that? Logan, by the way, if we're talking about coaches and making a jump, it ain't easy to get to.
To Logan, Utah?
To Logan, Utah. No. There's a lot that goes on. It's a different vibe in Logan.
Their athletic director quit and didn't have a job. He got a job at Louisiana Monroe, John Hartwell, but he just said, I'm out.
Like when you're watching a basketball game, you're like, wow, it's a rowdy environment, and they can be successful, they can be good, but there's a lot that goes into it, and there's a reason why these coaches would be interested in not just more money, but location.
And it's easier to recruit there. Paul, good morning. You're on the Sports Animal. Hi, Paul.
Hey, how you doing, Jeff?
Good. What's happening?
Interesting discussion. It's not only the coaches, isn't it? It's the NIL money. So the question I'm posing is, who's making more money this year, the Cameter twins at Miami or their coach?
Probably their coach, but it's a great question.
They're making $5 million right now.
Yeah, that's a great point. Are they making $5 million? I saw their value.
Well, that's endorsements, not just NIL.
Well, yeah. Oh, sorry. their net
Well,
worth.
but total, then they're making more than their coach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Paul, the answer is the Cabinet twins.
Well, in general.
All right. Have a great day, guys.
See ya.
Enjoy the show.
If we want to separate from NIL, but I know they're making $5 million.
Yeah. Yeah, and I saw valuations as Arthur Chiway was like $975 million in NIL, and Drew Timme was making like $626,000. Like Drew Timme was making more if he'd have played overseas or stayed at Gonzaga. He's making more at Gonzaga.
Well, the Cavendish sisters are what people thought it was going to be. Like they're actually doing endorsements. Like what was it that
they make a lot of money off
that
TikTok.
That protein company, I forget. Like
yeah, they're doing
like,
NIL, not pay to
like,
play.
That was what
Very smart
people
girls.
thought this was going to be, and then it just turned into no. Here's our collective, and here's your
Let's pay to play
salary for the season.
Here's your salary.
Yeah.
Right.
And
100%.
That's why they're banking.
And that's, I've had this conversation with a number of coaches, a number of athletic directors. We had the conversation with the commissioner of the Mountain West, Gloria Nevadas, yesterday. Right? I mean, and her thing was, how do we pull it back from being paid to play? I don't know that you do. And your point is, let's just make it pay to play and have the universities control it, and that's a whole nother level of this thing. But I want to. We're not done on coaches moving. We got a former Lobo assistant got his first job, but this is gonna dovetail into the contract extension conversations for Richard Pitino, and some of you just feeling there's no way. I'm just telling you, if you want to be competitive, the cost of being competitive is going up. Are you willing to pay that cost, or do you think, like some of you do, that you can be competitive by paying a coach $300,000 to $500,000 or $800,000? It's a good living. We'd all right. You got to step away from your perspective and look at the overall picture. It's the opening drive. Jeff, JJ, A-Marie, Jerry Palm will be with us from CBS Sports at 8:30 on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Animal.
It's your
Too strong. It's going to be a rebound there by Brown. Brown gets it in. Bucket there by Alter.
Crossover for Jackson. Salas steals the rebound and finds a cutting Mitchell at the rim.
Great move.
It's almost even in the foul territory, and the Cueva looking to take advantage. Said Yates draws the foul, and one opportunity is said, gives the muscles down.
And it's 11-4, 38. Another turnover by Rio Grande. Montoya off the glass, up and in, back-to-back layups for the Demons.
Was stolen away again by Valdez. Valdez going to bring it out.
Valdez has to have around 3 or 4 steals. 3 by Mays.
Bingo! That one rattles in for Alyssa Mays, and the All-District Player of the Year has 12. Penetrates, no foul called. Rodriguez lines one up and knocks down the 3. First basket of the night.
Back it out.
Look at this deep three.
Wow! That was from NBA range.
What a steal. Stevison 2-on-1. Gets up. Gets it in.
He doesn't use it. Comes back out to Dominguez, who takes a 3. Boom! There's that man, Superman.
Turns, shoots off. Oh, he made that.
Wow. That was crazy. That was a crazy shot.
Drive with 3-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta, A. Marie Castillo, and JJ Bob.
Final Four convenes in Houston. It'll be on Saturday. The first game is San Diego State, Florida Atlantic. Second game will be UConn versus Miami. You can hear all those games and the championship game Monday right here on your home for the Final Four and the national championship game. 95.9 FM and AM 610. The Sports Animal. It's the opening drive. Jeff, JJ, and A. Marie. Thanks for being with us on a Wednesday. The number to get in, 505-246-0610. That's also the text line, 505-246-0610. Talking about coaching in college basketball, New Mexico State hired Jason Hooten earlier this week to be their new head coach. There was some conversation earlier this week about a extension for Richard Pitino. He is 2 years into a 6-year deal. And then we're just looking at some of the numbers that are being thrown around at coaches around college basketball and guys getting jobs. One job I do want to tell you about, I think a lot of you will remember Alan Huss. He was an assistant at UNM. He was on Craig Neal's staff. He's been in a number of places. I think he was at Creighton most recently. Just got his first head coaching job at High Point in North Carolina, which is good for him, stoked for him. But just throwing some digits around and some salaries. And you know, when I say to you, Ed Cooley leaves Providence, and I don't know if you think of Providence as one of those gigantic jobs. It's a good Big East job. He was making $3 million, and he's going to Georgetown to make $3.5 million or whatever it is. Penn State's going to pay $3 million plus. Rodney Terry just signed for $3 million plus at Texas. Okay, well those are those big schools, Jeff. Okay, VCU's coach Mike Rhodes apparently, according to reports today, is going to leave VCU to go to Penn State. And he's leaving at $1.7 million. I just think the numbers are crazy. And I'm not sitting here screaming, you've got to pay them. Although I think that if you are planning, and I don't know where you get the money and how do you figure it out. And then there's the collective, and then there's, you know, but Colorado State's doing it. San Diego State's going to do it. You know, UNLV finds ways to do it. Steve Alford's making north of 1.1, 1.2, which sounds like nothing now. But JJ, I guess if you're going to be competitive, right, you've got to figure a way to be competitive. And I know we're going to get the call today. Well, you know, find a guy for $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 who just wants that opportunity.
Here's the thing: you're never paying a coach enough that they're not taking a $3 million job. So the question you have to ask is, should the Lobos
fair question
be in the area of a South Florida? Should they be hovering around there, where their successful coach at UNM or at Utah State isn't lured away by that job as opposed to a Big East job? Because no one is going to begrudge a coach for going to a power conference. They're not. Like, they're going to be upset, and you should be a Lobo for life.
A lot of people around here begrudge Steve Alford for going to a power conference.
But that's the business side of it. They're not a fan, they're a coach, and they are on their journey. So the question isn't let's keep comparing these $3 million jobs to $800,000 at New Mexico. It's should the Lobos be sitting where South Florida can't poach their coach?
VCU, right?
Yeah.
VCU, should you be in that area? And how do you get there? And you know, if you would have heard this week, in South Florida's open, right? Nate Odom's a name up for that. There's a lot of names up for that. But if Richard,
Florida, VCU, these schools are good to have the conversation about.
Well, if you'd have heard Richard Pitino took the South Florida job for 1.7, A, would it surprise you? And B, how'd you feel about it? I don't think anything would surprise me.
That's the conversation we need to have.
Let's have it.
Is the investment in the program? How much is your head coach worth? Because if said coach is going to take another Big East, Big Ten job for $3+ million, that's who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, successful coaches are going to make that jump. But I don't think Lobo fans want to hear, hey, our coach is going to be poached by VCU in South Florida.
I think most Lobo fan understands Richard Pitino's not going to end his career here, right? Most likely. I mean, he's going to have a lot of success and go make a lot of money. And good for him. And you shake his hand and pat him on the back and you say, thank you for what you've done. And good luck to you. And you find the next guy to hopefully continue what he's done. Because that will mean that your program is in a better place than it was when he got here. And that he's got you to a place where somebody else wants him, right?
And this conversation could actually just be insert Mountain West team name here.
It kind of is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Leon Rice has turned down a number. It sounds like he turned down Washington State a couple of times. But, we'll just watch Randy Bennett, who's in West Coast Conference at St. Mary's, evidently just turned down another big swing by Cal. They've been coming after him. I think it's the third time they've come after him. So sometimes it's who are you? What do you want to do? I think at some point Richard probably ends up back on the East Coast and makes a lot of money. But if he turns your program back into what you want it to be, you say thank you, wish you the best, stay in touch. We're always going to root for you. But where should you be and how do you get there? And I think that the conversation, the question you're asking is really fair. Should you be in the area of a South Florida VCU, and how do you get there? Like, VCU's not in a football conference. South Florida's got American football money. There's more money in the American television football package than there is in the Mountain West. So there's more money to run around there. But you look at the A-10, you go, VCU, where's that coming from? Are they getting state legislature help? Where's it coming from? Is it donors? Where is it? But how do you get to that point where, I'm just telling you, the cost of doing business is not going down. And, we still have people think, well, Dave Bliss made $400,000. Oh, okay. That was 2 decades ago.
Well, these are schools that are courting successful Mountain West coaches.
Yeah.
And, VCU, solid basketball program. South Florida, it's about area lifestyle, but you still want to be in a
what
position.
could they be? South Florida feels like it should be something like San Diego State to me.
But there's also one that, there's a lot of really cool places. It doesn't mean you're going to be good just because you have an awesome campus.
But yes, because I watched San Diego State struggle in all sports for decades.
So,
but then you get the right person in there, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, look what you can do here. Plus you've got the attractability of where you are, all of those things, right? Edward, good morning. You're on the Sports Animal. Hi, Edward.
Well, good morning. Hey, I have about 4 takes. I'll go rapid fire and be very succinct. One, I've been critical of women's college basketball. I viewed on Sunday night into what I saw Caitlin Clark from the University of Iowa. She's the Steph Curry of women's basketball. Mm-hmm. Cheryl Miller is the best college basketball player I've ever seen. She used to beat her brother in one-on-one games and dunk in the games. Yep. Caitlin Clark is amazing. And by the way, I'm a ratings guy. That game had more ratings than any NBA game this year.
That's correct.
The NBA is becoming virtually unwatchable, quite honestly. But what an amazing performance. That is a dynamic player. Earlier this year, when the tournament season started, I went to the Pac-12 tournament, and I succinctly stated there's an athletic difference between what I saw in the Pac-12 and the Mountain West. And my point wasn't to say, from a big man perspective, the Mountain West should run their offense to big men. My point was they don't have the athleticism to defend the paint outside of one team, which was San Diego State University, which I succinctly stated I think they'll get to the Elite Eight, and now they're in the Final Four. So I'm elated for you, Jeff, as a fan and a graduate of San Diego State. The Mountain West is a finesse conference, as dictated by their performance in the post-season tournaments, and that's okay. They shoot the three, they run motion, but they don't defend the paint outside of one team, and they're doing it very well. And I hope they get to the national championship game. So I think it's going to be great. The next point I want to say is in your updates in between segments, Boomer Esiason stated yesterday that once some of the number one seeds got knocked out, tickets plummeted to the Final Four down to as low as $75, which if an individual ever wanted to attend the Final Four, this is your year. I have friends from 40 years ago, once in an iconic Final Four in the pit, where once Georgia and Louisville lost in the semis, their fans dumped tickets, and I have friends, and I think some of your callers said they've gotten in for like $20 in 1983, which was a phenomenal deal to see Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler and that great NC State team. So fans, if you want to go to the Final Four, this is your year. And then my last point for the NFL, I always have solutions. The NFL in the past few years, we've seen a 17th game employed. We've seen playoff games now on Monday night. I believe the NFL is going to continue to expand their landscape. Rather than play on Thursday nights, they should play on Tuesday nights, because it gives you a 5-day rest as opposed to a 4-day rest. I've actually thought about writing to the commissioner. If you think about it, it's more logical. It gives you one more day of safety and rest. Just play on Tuesday nights. If you want to take over the week, But I think the reason they do Thursday nights is because it's a prelude to a college football weekend, the NFL weekend, and they're trying to gain momentum. But Tuesday night is your answer, quite honestly.
Interesting. All right,
Anyway,
man.
Jeff, enjoy Hooters and Cheesecake Factory.
Always do.
I'm rooting for your team. And that University of Connecticut team has everything.
Yeah, they do.
And they're going to be prohibitive favorites. But I'm hoping for an upset.
All right, man.
Have a great
So,
time.
That's interesting. Tuesday night instead of Thursday. So instead of starting the week early, extending the week on the backside. It's an interesting thought. It gives you a long prep on the front side. Really, it's still short, but longer than Thursday. It's an interesting concept. David, you want to talk about coaches? Good morning. You're on the Sports Animal. Hi, David.
Hello. A couple of points. Questions about contracts versus ultimately performance.
Yeah.
I've been one to criticize contracts because people chase the contract. Once they're in the contract and they're paid for the contract, and even if they're fired, then ultimately they are paid out unless there's reasons they shouldn't. And the kicker is Patino, whatever the heck his name is ultimately 2 years in. He's underperforming. I would let him walk. And the kicker to my ultimate point is Alford got an increase in pay due to increase in sales, and they can do the same thing for Patino without extending the time. They can increase his money ultimately like they did for Alford based on ticket sales and revenue, but don't necessarily have to extend his time because I don't see him that good. And seems the scuttlebutt now is that he could walk, and then that wouldn't surprise. Then why are they considering the contract extension? I'm mindful of the guy from Alabama. What's that guy's name? The football coach.
Nick
the
Saban.
famous guy.
Nick Saban.
Yes, his contract requires him to be paid more than anybody else. If anybody else gets paid more than he does, then he gets a pay raise.
Good to be king.
And you could look back on his last several years and wonder if that's legitimate.
Well, I guess, and David, appreciate you because it's some good points. A couple things. Is Nick Saban legitimate? I mean, if he doesn't win a national championship, is it legitimate? But I guess David's point would be, well, you got to be paid the most, so you should win the most. He said Rich Pitino's underperforming. Do you think he's underperforming? Now, they finished 6th place in their league, didn't make the NCAA tournament. I think, do you have to take the whole picture into consideration, what he inherited, a team that had 6 wins and no players on the roster? I mean, basically no players.
Underperforming. Interesting.
I don't know that I think he's underperforming. Now,
No, that's not the
next year would be you got to get to the NCAA tournament, and we can have the conversation.
Last year was a disappointment. The end of the season.
You
last
think
year
they
was
underperformed last year as a
The end
whole?
of the
As
season.
a whole, as a
As
season?
a whole, no.
Okay.
But you can't tell me a team
that's 14-0 that doesn't make
that,
the NCAA.
not just 14-0, but the games that they played against St. Mary's, San Diego State.
Yeah.
Like the wild swings was disappointing to play those games and then get blown out by Air Force and Wyoming.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you that it was like this insane.
The program is in a
wonderful
better
success.
position. Richard Pitino has done his job to raise expectations, as he said multiple times last year. The fans are ahead of where they are basketball-wise, which is where that frustration comes
So is
from.
that underperforming?
No.
I don't think so
I think
either.
there's a difference between underperforming and
Yeah, I don't think they're underperforming. I think they're probably right on track. Like if they would have made the tournament this year, I would have told you that's actually probably overperforming. Right? They're ahead of schedule. This was a 3-year deal. Now I know in
do
college
think we
basketball
have to look at it differently
because you can
because of
get
that roster
good so quickly.
Yeah.
Okay.
We do.
So you think they
can't just be-
underperformed?
I think there's an element at the end of the season that yes.
Okay.
Because you can't tell me how awesome Morris Udeze is, and he's playing all these postseason All-Star games, and you love Josiah Alec,
And they finished 6th in the league.
and then all those players are gone, and then you expect to be better next year.
Yeah. All right, we'll continue this conversation. It's actually, and keep them coming, and you're filling up the text line. It's 505-246-0610. The phone line, 377 Brewery Hotline, 50505. That's 505-246-0610. Jerry Palm's going to be with us coming up at 8:30. Ask him what he thought. I mean, we're going to get his thoughts on the Final Four, but, he watched this a little bit. Tell him the conversation we're having. Did he think New Mexico underperformed this year, or was it kind of right on track? Or I don't know. I'm interested to hear what he has to say on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With your covered from U.S. Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At U.S. Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers. We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com today.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Everguard Roofing and Solar. For nearly 20 years, Everguard Roofing and Solar has been working with New Mexicans to enhance their homes and businesses. For all your roofing and solar needs in New Mexico, call 505-821-9543. Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Check it out.
What is it?
It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early.
I already get my paycheck early at U.S.
Eagle. Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with U.S. Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with U.S. Eagle.
Time machine.
Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes.
Wait, what? Seth?
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers. We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Dream style stucco. Stucco is the way to go. The Southwest tradition, beautiful and durable. The perfect combination. Your favorite.
A lot of interesting thoughts from you on this coaching stuff and where should UNM's coaching salary be. And we had the conversation earlier in the week about UNM and Richard Pitino and extending the contract, finding a little more money, and there's got to be protections for UNM as well,
Well,
right?
it's both ways, right?
Yeah. No, if Richard would have announced, let's just say, and again, the South Florida job was open, it is open, and I've asked you this: if he came out this week, he took the job at South Florida and it's $1.7 million, how would you feel about it? Would you say, hey, best to you and your family? You're doing right. It's good gelt, and they're investing in their facilities as well, and good luck to you. Or would you go, wait a minute, this is a better program. How the hell does that happen? Now, UNM would get, I believe if it happened before April 1st, what's today, the 29th? They get $2.2 million. It's $1.2 million if it happens after April 1st is the buyout. But how would you feel about it? You guys are in on a bunch of stuff. AC wants to know about VCU. How can VCU pay $1.7 million to their coach? It sounds like Mike Rhodes, their coach at VCU, is on the way out. I'm going to go to Penn State, but he was making 1.7. Says, good morning, Jeff. Does VCU have football at any level? Asking because 1.7 at VCU is a lot. Just curious. They don't. There's no football at VCU. Gopher says on contracts, Jeff, we used to hear coaches needed 1 million years on their deal. They couldn't recruit unless they were going to be around for the entire eligibility to recruit. But in the days of mercenaries where rosters are rebuilt from scratch every year, why haven't contracts caught up? Why aren't they year to year? I understand the thinking that way. What coach is going to sign a 1-year deal? I mean, honestly, what coach is going to...
No coach is going to sign a 1-year deal, but I think it's fair to point out that you don't need an 8 or 10-year deal.
I think that's right. And Richard have a 6. He's 2 years into his 6, right? I mean, do any of us think he's going to make the 6 years?
No.
And that's
part
not,
of that is because you
not a-
believe he's going to be successful.
That's
Correct.
100% why.
Correct. And then he's going to get offered more money, and then of course you're going to go after more money.
Look, if he wins this year,
Listen, if you
and there's going to be one of these $3 million jobs that are going to open up next year, and God bless him, right?
Yeah. I mean, put yourself in his shoes. Come on.
I don't begrudge him at all. And if that
absolutely.
happens, that means they've won. That means your program's in a better place. You're going to attract another good coach
Another
in here.
good coach. It's going to keep going.
And
Trust the
he
process.
furthers himself, his career, his family. And it's like you, man. You're at your job, and if someone comes in and offers you a chunk of money and an opportunity, you're going to go do it. And again, look around, right? Who's the longest tenured coach in this league right now? It's Dutcher's been there 25 years, but he's been there 6. It's Leon Rice at 12, right? Joe Scott's back at Air Force for a second run. Nico's been there, 3 years up at Colorado State. Alfred's been, I think, 3 years at Nevada. UNLV changes coaches every 2-3 years. It's how it is, man. You go around now. Krzyzewski's gone, and Boeheim's now gone. You got Izzo's the one,
Izzo.
right?
I was going to say Izzo.
So after Izzo, you got another one who's been there a long time. Jim Larenega's been, I want to say, Miami 12 years. Does that sound right? 10 years. Good for him. But, I mean, how long a coach is sticking around anywhere? I just think
There's going to be a lot more movement in the mid to high major conferences
Well, and when the discrepancy between salaries
Contracts
gets to
and
be
salaries, that plays a factor in
Yeah,
it.
when it gets-
The one thing for Lobo fans,
Yeah.
you can hang your hat on is this program still matters.
and this job's going to be attractive.
This job is going to be attractive to basketball coaches. The fair conversation, I think we are having the right conversation today, is not comparing this to Big East schools, Big Ten schools. It's American Athletic Conference schools,
A-10.
things like that. You don't want those schools to be able to pull your coach away for a couple $100,000.
Yeah, the Atlantic 10. Ren says, watching the NIT with announcer Fran Fraschilla, then it was all about mercenaries. It was all NIL. Where do high school players fit into all this, Jeffy? Where are they going to get the opportunity to play and become the next generation of mercenaries? And so there is, and it depends on the program, right? You've got Donovan Dent had an opportunity this year, right? Donovan Dent was a high school player, came in, got good six-man minutes this year, and is staying. Got an NIL deal, and he's going to make money. You got two guys coming in, Washington and Toppin coming in next year, right?
Yes.
That you're expecting will play. So there are opportunities, right? I just maybe not as many, although, I mean.
There weren't that many before in terms of playing right away.
Yeah,
for life.
yeah, but it's different. And there are college coaches who flat out said, man, why would I recruit high school? I'm just in the portal. And so there's going to be different opportunities. All right, we're going to talk to Jerry Palm, CBS Sports bracketologist, senior writer, expert. He's on his way to the Final Four tomorrow. Normally we do Jerry on Thursday, but he'll be in flight to Houston. So we are going to talk to Jerry Palm next, talk to him about who's going to win the Final Four, who's going to win the national championship, and just get his thoughts. We'll ask him, we had a caller said UNM underperformed. I don't know that I know I don't agree with underperforming, but what does he think? That's next. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Check it out.
What is it?
It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early.
I already get my paycheck early at U.S. Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with U.S. Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with U.S. Eagle.
Time machine.
Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes.
Wait, what? Seth?
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers. We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With your covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com today.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Everguard Roofing and Solar. For nearly 20 years, Everguard Roofing and Solar has been working with New Mexicans to enhance their homes and businesses. For all your roofing and solar needs in New Mexico, call 505-821.
Games start from Houston on a Saturday. San Diego State FAU will be the first game, a little after 5 o'clock tip-off hour. Actually, a little after 4 o'clock tip-off hour time. And then after that, it'll be UConn and Miami. Opening drive, Jeff, JJ, and Amory will take phone calls in a little bit. Typically we do this on Thursday, but Jerry will be in flight to Houston on Thursday, so he graciously moved back to today. He is a senior writer. He's a bracketologist. He's their all-everything over at CBS Sports. Jerry Palm joins us this morning on the opening drive. Good day, sir. How you feeling?
Probably not quite as good as you, but not bad.
I'm all right. Just the Final Four everybody had. Like, this is one of the craziest things, and I know it's been said, but I don't know anybody who's got a team. Every once in a while, somebody will say, I had UConn. Like, everybody does brackets. We all think we know what we're talking about until we know we don't. I mean, it's maybe a few UConns, but this is bonkers, and I'm not going to lie to you. I love it. I'm of the belief just because you don't know of something doesn't mean it's not good, and so I love this. How you feeling?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, about the only thing that would be weirder than this Final Four is if somehow Purdue made it. But it's it's a pretty weird group of teams, and it's really unexpected. You're right. Some people would have picked UConn probably. I don't know if they're blue bloods as much as they are new blood, but that's a recognizable team that has won this tournament before, and they had a good season. So, and probably should have been seeded higher than a 4, although
that's right.
No higher than 3. But anyways, but you've got 3 first-time Final Four participants. You've got 3 first-time coaches in this event. Those are not the same 3 teams.
Right.
So, I think it's fun. I got to see Florida Atlantic in Memphis, and I got to see, in Columbus, and I got to see San Diego State in Louisville. So those are all 4 of these teams are different. They have their success through, their strengths are all different, and I think that makes for an interesting collection of games.
All right, big picture of this, because I'm of the belief that I think it's good for college basketball. And I know there's people, well, if it's not Kentucky and Carolina and UCLA and Duke, then I don't care. And my point would be to most of those people, you can't name me 2 dudes on those teams, let alone on Florida Atlantic. So what do you care? A big picture, is this good for college basketball?
Yeah, I think having I don't know if you want Final Fours like this every year.
Okay.
But yeah, as a one-off, sure. I think it's interesting, and you just go into this thing not knowing anything. Right? You think you know stuff, but you don't know anything because anything could happen. It has the entire tournament. Anything can happen. Most people, I guess, the prevailing wisdom is people like the upsets in the first 2 rounds, and then they want to see the familiar names after that. I guess we'll see if the TV ratings bear that out. I mean, that's really how it's going to be measured. Is are people watching? I'm intrigued because I really think any of the 4 teams could win it as long as if they can find a way to play to their strengths, and all of the strengths are different.
Jerry, what's impressed you the most about Florida Atlantic?
Just the way they persevere. They're just fighting every game and finding ways to win. They're a good 3-point shooting team. In general, I mean, that's been their strength during the regular season, but they can attack inside if they need to, and they can defend reasonably well. It's, those are not necessarily their strengths, but, they're just, they get good shots and they've been making them. And that's really kind of their MO. And in a survive and advance world, there's a little bit of luck involved, right? They had a little bit of luck at the end of the Memphis game. They didn't have to play Purdue, so there's a little bit of luck of the draw there, but, you still have to take advantage of it. And, they got a Tennessee team that was a bit beat up but still they could have lost any of those games, and they found a way to continue to win.
Do you have kind of a major takeaway from this tournament to this point? It's just about rosters or coaching or what we see with the way that college athletics is now?
No, I mean, really the way these rosters were built, I don't think we're dramatically different than, under the new rules, with the exception of Miami. Because Miami went out and spent a bunch of NIL money, got guys like, Nigel Pack. And, that's the team that probably benefited the most from NIL to get to this point. But even still, they were a 5 seed, so this, they didn't, it's not like they were the dominant team. They were a co-champion in fact, I think they were the number 1 seed perhaps in the tournament for the ACC, but in a down year for that league. So, they obviously, nobody dominated college basketball this year, and none of these teams here did that either. And in fact, none of them really dominated in their conference. So, I guess Florida Atlantic was a pretty clear conference champion in Conference USA, but still, these are teams that have had ups and downs, more ups and downs, but still some ups and downs this season, and yet they're all here.
Jerry Palm, CBS Sports, is with us on the opening drive. We've had a lot of conversation, obviously, here about what Mountain West Conference didn't do, and San Diego State being the first Mountain West team to ever get there, and however long they'll be a Mountain West team they are. What's the national perspective, on them? How has that narrative changed, and has it helped the conference's perception at all?
Oh, I'm sure it has, although that can't be measured in such a short period of time. But certainly it helps the perception of the conference to put a team there, and not just, a team, but the most consistently good team in this league. The best of the programs in this league is the one that made it here. And that's, I think it's probably the best known program. And obviously it'll be better known after this event, but I think it's definitely good for the league. New commissioner got a nice present on her debut basketball season.
Yeah, she was on with us yesterday. She's 3 months on the job, and she's back in the Final Four. It's like, wow, that's magic. It's wonderful for you.
Yeah.
They shut down Alabama. I didn't think they'd beat Alabama, and I'm going to guess you didn't. Most people didn't.
Nope.
That was the one that just opened eyes. I mean, aside from the Princeton stuff and the Furman stuff and that sort of stuff, and there was one other that I can't recall. I'm kidding. That was the game that just kind of opened people's eyes of, wow, they might be legit and they can score enough to win.
Yeah, well, and that's, they don't score much. It's not really their strength, but they do score enough to win. But San Diego State, they're the one team in this group that isn't really got a defensive identity. That's their bread and butter. And this team is big. I don't mean tall. Every guy that they play is built like a football player. Mm-hmm. And, it's an older team. So there's some maturity. So they don't get down when somebody makes a run. They just keep grinding and grinding and grinding. And when they can impose their will and their style on the game, they are really hard to beat. And a lot of teams don't see teams like San Diego State. Most of the major conferences don't have, teams that grind like San Diego State does. The Big Ten is nothing but grinders, and Rutgers is, the ultimate grinder in the Big Ten. But, most of these leagues play much more open styles. So they get a team like San Diego State that can get in their face and stay in their face because you can't smack them down because they're too strong, and you can't.
And deep.
You just can't get by them because they don't move. But they can stay in front of you. It's an impressive style, and they've executed very well in this tournament. And even when Alabama made their run early in the second half, they were just right there grinding away. And eventually, and the thing about Alabama is they made their run, but Brandon Miller wasn't a part.
That's right.
Brandon Miller never got going, and the fact that he could never get going, and he's such a volume shooter and scorer for them. Even that run was short-lived. And that's, the job they did on Brandon Miller was tremendous.
Jerry, what do you think the difference will be between Miami and UConn?
UConn's size and the way that they can protect the rim from those guys on Miami that can get there. Sanogo's great. Klingon's great. They're two-headed centers. They've got good guards. They're a good defensive team. They're not an elite defensive team like perhaps San Diego State is, but they're a good defensive team, in part because they can protect the rim. They can score from anywhere on the floor. So, UConn has been the best team in this tournament, but their size is going to be a problem for most of the teams they play.
UConn, your pick to cut down the nets?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, no, go ahead.
Against San Diego State.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll be good on Monday night. I'm looking forward to seeing you. Hey, lastly, before we get out of here, we had a caller earlier. We were talking a lot about New Mexico. We're talking about coaches and salaries, and Richard Pitino's having a conversation about extending a contract here. And the caller said, they underperformed this year, did New Mexico. And I'm like, wow, okay, they were a 6-win team 2 years ago. This is his second year. They were 14-0. Expectations got raised, certainly, and they didn't make the tournament. From your perspective, and I don't know if yours is, yours is certainly more national than ours. Did New Mexico underperform from your perspective this year?
No, I think they I think they did about as well as you would think, and I think they would have done better if Jalen House hadn't got hurt late in the year. They'd probably be in the tournament if Jalen House didn't get hurt late in the year. Right. That's, teams like New Mexico don't have the depth to afford injuries to their best players. Yeah. And that's the nature of that. It's just being, a Mountain West team. You're not going to have, high quality depth. San Diego State does, but most of the teams in that league are not going to have that kind of depth. So you can't afford to lose, arguably your best player even for just a few games late in the season, you saw what it did to him. I think it's a different end of the season if he stays healthy.
Good perspective. All right, my friend, travel safely to Houston. We'll catch up with you next week. We'll wrap these things up, but appreciate the time. Looking forward to seeing you down in Texas, and thanks for making time for us on a Wednesday.
Great. Always good to talk to you. I'll see you there.
All right, I'll see you there. Jerry Palm from CBS Sports. Follow him at JP Palm, follow him at _ what is it? He's JP Palm CBS, right?
Yes.
At JP Palm CBS. All right, we got Smashing Pumpkin tickets to give away. We're going to give those away at 9:10. Be with us this morning. You can go see Smashing Pumpkins. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With your covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Check it out.
What is it?
It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early.
I already get my paycheck early at US Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with US Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with US Eagle.
Time machine.
Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes.
Wait, what? Seth?
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com today.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a #1. Cover it it with green stuff. One scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough. Back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot. It's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school.
The sports animal.
I'd always appreciate Jerry Palm's perspective. Gives you a little bit of a national perspective, JJ, but it's it's not. I don't think Jerry's slanted in his perspective. It makes sense. I know, we've been having Jerry on the show for how many years? I mean, since we've been doing this show, right? And this July will be 15 years we're doing this show. But he gets it. Like he didn't have to go look through his notes and have to learn about New Mexico right there, did he? So, I don't know. Do you think that's a really good point? When we have the conversation about did New Mexico underachieve? I think we kind of forget those two games. I don't want to take anything for granted. I don't want to tell you that they would have beaten Wyoming and Air Force. But I think they would have beaten Wyoming and Air Force if Jalen House wasn't out. And that's the difference between being the 5 seed and the 6 seed. Those are two bad losses, and I think that probably puts them in Dayton in the first 4, right? Don't you think they make the tournament if, in fact, they don't lose those 2 games?
Their bubble wouldn't have been popped.
Right?
Their bubble was popped with those 2 games.
Yeah.
Because the season was... They were close. They weren't great. They had their flaws, but that doesn't mean they weren't capable of making a postseason appearance because of the way they played San Diego State, the losses to Nevada. Like those ones, because if you get those games, then are one of those games like you split with Nevada, somehow you swept San Diego State, they don't hit that walk-off 3 at the buzzer, then your bubble's not popped by Wyoming and Air Force.
Yeah.
But they were, because those were your bad losses, and that was part of what dragged you down at the end. And I think where, for me, watching this team, covering the team, that there's a bit of underperforming at the end of the season. There is, because you have to let your eyes tell you the story. You can't keep going back to, well, guess what? People in the preseason thought this team was X. That doesn't mean anything. It just means you could be wrong about something. That's not who they are. A preseason poll doesn't tell you who a team is. It's just we think they're going to be bad, or we think they're going to be good.
What does underperform mean? I mean, did they perform up to expectations?
But when you watch this team play,
they
beat the team ahead of them handily. They competed at the top of the conference. And so what they were 2 years ago is not who they are today.
Well, that's right. And so big picture is a hard perspective. And I think that's right. Toby says, good morning. Would you consider giving a coach a contract extension who had the top scorer in the league, the top rebounder in the league, top steals player per game in the league, and the best double-double player in the league, and could not get to over 500 in conference play and how to play a playing game, and arguably one of the very best backcourts in the country? He says yes. It's interesting. I mean, all those things. We'll continue this. More on Lamar Jackson as well. He's clapping back on his inability. He says that's not an issue. Well, it kind of is. And one owner says, it kind of is. For the biggest quarterback still out on the market, theoretically. It's the opening drive. We're going to give away tickets to go see Smashing Pumpkins at 10 after 9. Coming up in about 15 minutes from now. Glad you're with us this morning on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal.
Too strong. It's going to be a rebound there by Brown. Brown gets it in. Bucket there by Alter.
Crossover for Jackson. Salas steals the rebound and finds a cutting Mitchell at the rim.
Great move.
It's almost even in the foul territory, and the Cueva looking to take advantage. Said Yates draws the foul, and one opportunity is Said gives the muscles down.
And it's 11-4, 38. Another turnover by Rio Grande. Montoya off the glass, up and in, back-to-back layups for the Demons.
Stolen away again by Valdez. Valdez is going to bring it out.
Valdez has to have around 3 or 4 steals. 3 by Mays.
Bingo! That one rattles in for Alyssa Mays, and the All-District Player of the Year has 12.
Penetrates, no foul called. Rodriguez lines one up and knocks down the 3. First basket of the night.
Back it out.
Look at this deep 3.
Wow! That was from NBA range.
What a steal. Stevison 2-on-1. Gets up. Gets it in.
He doesn't use it. Comes back out to Dominguez, who takes a 3. Boom! There's that man, Superman.
Turns, shoots off. Oh, wow. He made that.
Wow. That was crazy. That was a crazy shot.
Has everybody on him. Now he got open.
Open look for a 3, and that's what he does. A 3 for Dennerclaw. His first bucket of the game. And that's a 3, and it'll count at the buzzer.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Of us.
7 o'clock in the morning. 7 a.m. where have you been? 7 a.m. where is your brother?
Now, voted the best sports show in New Mexico for 5 years running. This is The Opening Drive with 3-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta, A. Marie Castillo, and J.J. Buck.
9 a.m. Just want to make sure you understand. Why are you looking at me like that? 9 a.m. That's the third hour of our 7 o'clock show. Glad you're with us. Opening Drive, Jeff, J.J., A. Marie. Lamar Jackson is clapping back while more and more teams are just going, yeah, no, we're good. No, we're good. No, we don't need him. I'm like, all right. Free agency is going on. You've got owners' meetings going on. Lamar Jackson's future, the quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens, is very unknown. Monday, he announced that he had recently asked for a trade from the Baltimore Ravens. An option, JJ, looked like maybe New England, right? Robert Kraft out there. Kraft told reporters that he's the owner of the Patriots. That rapper Meek Mill, this is one of the most bizarre sentences to me. Rapper Meek Mill performed at Robert Kraft's wedding. Is that kind of really? It's a different wedding band. Anyway, that Meek Mill texted the owner of the Patriots, say, Jackson wants to be. And Kraft didn't say that he would be in Foxborough, but he didn't say it's out of the question. But apparently Bill Belichick is not interested, which means it's not going to happen. Bill Belichick's the head coach there. He said he's not interested. Patriots are not going to pursue Lamar Jackson. Bleacher Report saying that. Jackson hasn't confirmed where he wants to go, but he said the Ravens are not interested in meeting my value, and somebody else will. You had Arthur Blank, the owner of the Falcons, come out and say he has concern about the availability of the quarterback. It's the Opening Drive. Jeff Symbieta, J.J. Buck, A. Marie. Is somebody going to come out and do this? This like Seattle. Is Seattle better off with Lamar Jackson or Geno Smith? They've got a bunch of picks. Is it worth 2 picks to them to go shore up a quarterback? The Jets were supposedly in this conversation, but they're so far down the line with Aaron Rodgers that it would be disingenuous for them to have this negotiation. Atlanta's owner says, yeah, no, the fact that he's hurt a lot, it's a deal. You know what I think it is? I think Atlanta would be interested if it was a number that they felt was reasonable. And what it honestly, I don't think this is collusion, although many people do. What Lamar thinks his value is absolutely different than apparently what every team in the NFL believes his value to be. And so the answer, Marie, is going to end up playing on a franchise tag in Baltimore and be miserable.
Yeah, I think this is harsh reality for Lamar Jackson. I think there's a ton of factors in play. The league is absolutely pushing back on fully guaranteed contracts. Is it outright collusion? It'd be hard to, I guess, prove that. But, yeah, they're standing together saying we're not doing this to quarterbacks anymore. The Deshaun Watson contract was an outlier. Timing-wise, the last 2 years have hurt Lamar Jackson not being able to finish the season at a high level. Where I would be frustrated if I'm Lamar is, why did it even get to this point?
Yeah.
Like, why wasn't I extended 2 years
Well, I'll
ago?
tell you why. Yeah. Because the number that they offered that they felt fair.
I'm not talking about this year. I'm talking about like even 2 years ago. If you look at the other, Josh Allen's been extended.
Yeah,
he was part of that quarterback class.
Did they offer an extension? So I don't know the answer to this. Did the Ravens offer an extension back then?
So now you're going for the maximum amount of money, but I think that all comes into play. Was there a contract? Did the offer just kind of come in low and then he's going to play it out? And that's okay. Like there's nothing. Everyone has to be like the bad guy or someone has to be doing something wrong. This is business. And there's not like, we're not going to wake up tomorrow and there's a deadline that Lamar Jackson can or cannot be the quarterback. And just because other teams aren't saying anything, they're not showing their hand either. Like they don't have to sign Lamar Jackson. They don't have to trade for Lamar Jackson before the draft. They could use their first round pick this year because every first round pick is amazing, right? And the league is full of first round picks. Oh, wait a second. That's not the case. Like it's one where if you're a team, and I think Atlanta is playing this game, is you're saying things, maybe you're not going to show your hand, you're not going to go all in. You draft this year, after the draft, you're like, we feel pretty good about our foundation.
We're going to be better next year. Our picks going to be lower.
Now let's have this conversation where it might only cost us, only 2 first-round picks. It's not then multiple seconds, this or that. 2 first-round picks.
But again,
if you find a number that Lamar Jackson
that's the key
likes, and at some point in time, if someone comes to him with $200 million, you're going to say yes, like you are.
All right, so you talk about Atlanta. Their owner is Arthur Blank. Quote from Arthur Blank: looking at it objectively, there's some concern about whether or not he can play his style of game for how long can that last? I'm not sure. He's only 26, hopefully for a long time for his benefit or anybody that he's signed with. But he's missed 5 to 6 games each of the last 2 years. This is not like baseball or basketball where you're playing 82 or 182 games or whatever baseball is now. I think Lamar's situation, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about players on other clubs, but Lamar's situation I think is very different. A different player, different time. End quote. He was comparing him to Deshaun Watson. So at that point, he's saying, yeah, durability is an issue. Lamar came back on the tweeter. Here's Lamar's tweet. This was yesterday. Let's get real. I'd rather have 100% ACL than go out there and play horrible, forcing myself to put my guys in a bad situation. Now that's selfish to me. I don't remember me sitting out on my guys week 1 versus Jets to week 12 versus Broncos. How come all of a sudden I sit out because of money in which I could have got hurt at any time within that time frame when we know the Super Bowl be on my mind since April 2018? End quote. And you got to make out what you can out of that.
I'm looking back at they have like this timeline that it's been going on. Negotiations, even when he had a playoff loss against Buffalo like 2 years ago, they were talking about the contract extension.
So they've been trying to do it
for years. And then back in 2021, he was comparing it to how Dak Prescott got paid. So, yeah, this is just very interesting. This has been going on for a long time.
Well, so it sounds like they've been talking about it, and he's just never been satisfied with the money.
Yeah.
Well, and it sounds like he's the whole time been wanting to be paid at the top of the scale, right?
Right. Like that's why I gave you the example. It was Dak Prescott, now it's Deshaun Watson.
Right. So that's what it sounds like. He's got, I'm better than him. I'm better than him. I'm better than him. I don't know that you are, man. I don't know that you are. But where's it going to go?
I don't think I've ever seen anything like this.
Well, this one for player, it's crazy how everybody's so segmented on this, right? The people who are, why on earth aren't you signing him? If you're the Seahawks,
because we don't see anything like we never seen an elite quarterback go through this.
But I firmly believe there's 2 things at play here. Well, 3 things. Number one is like JJ said, the guaranteed contract, right? The owners are not moving on this. They are not letting the Deshaun Watson thing reset the market. That is an anomaly. That is an outlier. That is not what everything's going to be compared to. I think that's number one. I think number 2 is Lamar, who's representing himself by every impression, is not going to move off of his number. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, and he's come out and said that's not true, but that seems to be the perception of teams. We're not making him the highest paid, second highest paid, even third highest paid player in the game. And third is the durability issue. Which comes
tough.
Yeah. So it comes down to Lamar, we'll guarantee you $170 million and you're going to play, you'll be at about $40 million a year. And all of us are going, okay, that's unbelievable. And I think that's where it settles, right?
Right. And the Ravens want him as long-term quarterback. He just doesn't want, he doesn't want to take what they want to give him.
Maybe when he realizes that the rest of the world doesn't value him like he values him, right?
I guess I think it's just too much of a risk because this is
what's
crazy.
On whose part?
On taking Lamar, paying him that much.
Obviously, that's what teams feel. So my thought is, this is why I think he's going back to the Ravens. When Lamar realizes that the rest of the world doesn't value him like he values him, and that the Ravens come back and there is an offer in that $40 million area with $150 million guaranteed or whatever, and that's the best there was, and he was out there for anybody to have and nobody did it. I mean, is he going to walk away from it? That's why I think he ends up there.
Might not have a choice.
That's
Doesn't have a choice.
Therein lies my
Yeah.
point. Therein lies my point. All right, 505-246-0610. That's the number, 505-246-0610. That's the 377 Brewery hotline. You know what? We need to clear these. Let me take Ray's call before we go because we're going to give away those tickets. Hey, Ray, good morning to you. You're on the Sports Animal.
How's it going, guys?
Good. What's happening?
Yeah, on the Lobos, I'd say you got Rick Pitino, you pay him while he's here, and that makes other coaches, when he does leave, that makes other coaches say, hey, well, they're going to give me they're going to pay me some money, not way down. People see that, and you're going to get a good coach here if he leaves. But when he was at Minnesota, wasn't he making more money at Minnesota when he came to the Lobos?
Yeah, but he got fired there. He was making more money than he was
Yeah,
here.
but like I say, he played in a big conference. Maybe he wants to stay here. You never know. You know what I mean? But well, he's here. You got to play. You got to pay him. And as far as I think they overachieved myself, but I think he did a real good job of coaching. But I think it was just players that didn't play to their standards, especially coming off the bench. When you had House or Mashburn go to the sidelines, you had Forsey and the center. You had Forsier come in. You had Seth come in.
That's funny.
Nothing on them. Jenkins played good at the beginning of the year, and then it looked like towards the middle of the year, towards the end of the year, it looked like he was already done with the team. He knew he was going somewhere else because he came in and he was a whole different player. He didn't play defense anymore. He was driving the ball. He's a three-point shooter, and he had open threes, and he was putting the ball down, putting his head down, and driving, getting charges called against him.
Players
I
make
just
plays.
think It was just the players.
Yeah. No, Ray, appreciate the call. Thank you. Players make plays, right? No, players don't make plays. I mean, we give coaches credit, and I think college basketball coaches are a big part of it, but players got to make plays. And did you just say Forslinger? I mean, if Sebastian Forsling,
Forslinger.
Yeah, if Sebastian Forsling turns into a Joe Furstinger type of a guy by the end, it's another good example, right? Furstinger wasn't very good when he got here, and by the end he was pretty good. I always say Ferris and Cam Bairstow as a comparison, but Forslinger's funny. All right, we're gonna give away tickets in a minute. Stand by. I can tell you about IPS first. International Protective Service watches my home. They're there every day, boys and girls. It just sense of security. And I know you see them when you go out into businesses, stores, you see IPS security officers. Armed, highly trained armed guards, 24-hour patrols. Private security that's affordable. And you've worked hard to build what you've got, your home, your business. You want to protect your family. IPS does that because property crime's on the increase. You see it every day. You hear it every day. Officer shortage continues to be an issue. And so Aaron Jones started this company, protecting homes in Fort Hills back in 2006, but now hundreds of homeowners, business owners all over Albuquerque rely on IPS to protect what they've worked so hard to build. Don't let the bad guys come in and destroy what you've built. Call IPS, see what they can do for you and your family. Committed to our city and your protection. The number is 505-897-2420, 505-897-2420, or online at ipsglobal.com. Oh, wait, now I got to give away tickets. All right, so caller number 4. Here's
For
the
the
number.
Final Four.
For the Final Four. These aren't tickets to the Final Four. These are tickets to Smashing Pumpkins. But in honor of the Final Four, we have 2 tickets to give away to go see the Smashing Pumpkins. So call now at 505-246-0610. 505-246-0610. Caller 4 will win those tickets, courtesy of your good friend A. Marie at 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
It's your last week to win 1,000.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Check it out. What is it? It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early.
I already get my paycheck early at U.S. Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with U.S. Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with U.S. Eagle.
Time machine.
Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes.
Wait, what? Seth?
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers. We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever...
What up, Ricky?
He listens to us every day.
Appreciate you, Ricky. Thank you for listening to These Sports Animal. All of y'all who, and I know there's so many, everywhere I go, like every day, I heard this. Or
You're the
hey,
mayor, Jeff.
Tell me
Jeff.
about A-Marie. You know what I always get?
What?
Is A-Marie hot? I said,
my God.
smoking.
I appreciate it.
No, they get that,
That's so funny.
that one all the time, right?
What about JJ?
People know JJ's hot. People see he's been around for how many years?
And on the news.
Yeah, no, JJ's on TV. I mean, everybody knows
Yeah.
JJ's hot.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, so I get that.
Thanks, guys.
But it's always, oh, that made me laugh or something, or about this caller or that emailer or whatever. And so you get a lot of options.
Fight me, actually.
Some people want to fight you.
I think I'm getting more to your side, JJ.
What's that?
People going to stop wanting me to throw rocks.
Dude, people don't like me either. I'm just telling you. I mean, and it's like you said, that's when you know you made it.
We were talking about this with BB yesterday. Is hate listening's a thing.
It's inarguable.
It's like a real thing.
Look at our text line every day.
I know.
Right? look at some of these message boards who
It's always weird to me. Like, I never watch something on TV or listen to something
That
I
I
hate.
dislike.
Like, I don't, or I don't. I'm not really a hater, but I'll just be like, I'm not into this. I'm gonna
100% hate
so
listening. to
funny.
it. I hate that guy. Did you hear what he
hate
said?
listening.
Well,
but I'm gonna listen for 3 hours. I'm like, that's a lot of energy.
Yeah, you know what that's like? It's like, this tastes like crap. Here, try it.
Yeah.
It's
No.
Same thing. No, I'm good, man. No, here, try
I
it.
appreciate the haters. That means we're doing something right. But yeah.
Well, here's what I've always wanted to do with this. And again, you all, there's a lot of things you could be doing, and I appreciate, and I know you guys do too, appreciate the people and all y'all who are spending time with us every day and the thoughts. And I've told you this since I've known you. I just want to try to get people to think a little bit differently on a subject, right? And you don't have to agree with it. And if you hate it, I'm cool with that too. But let's try to entertain people and inform, make you think a little bit differently. We tend, and I think this is right. I think people tend to get their news, non-sports news, from places that tell you news and the way you want to hear your news, which is fine. But let's take subjects and look at both sides of them and have conversations about both sides and look at them differently. And we're going to always disagree on things, which is cool. But I don't know. It was cool. All right. We've been a lot on Lobo basketball, a lot on Lamar, a lot on contracts, coaches' contracts. And I don't know, if you weren't with us earlier, we were talking about contracts, and Rich Pitino and UNM evidently are having a conversation about extending his deal. And I gave you some perspective. The Mike Rhodes is the coach at VCU. It sounds like he's going to leave Virginia Commonwealth today. Reports are he's going to go to Penn State. And he was making $1.7 million at VCU, and he's going to go make north of $3 million at Penn State. And so I asked you earlier, I said, how would you feel if you heard this week that Richard Pitino left UNM and took South Florida's job at $1.7 million? How would you feel about that? And you'd probably say, whoa, South Florida, like, we're a better program than that, right? That's how Lobo fan would feel. And you probably are a better program than South Florida. How could they throw that kind of money around? And how would you feel? Would you congratulate Richard and say, hey, best to you and your family, and thanks for getting us back on the map, and good on you, and congratulations? I think at some point, if he wins this coming year and gets to the tournament, there's probably a $3 million deal sitting out there, because that's market value. But we're just having those conversations about where should UNM be.
Utah State is going through it right now.
Yeah, 100% with Ryan Odom right now. He's up for 2. His name's up for
They're
both.
like, why is this dude leaving Utah State for that?
For VCU or UCF? Or I'm sorry, USF. Yeah.
And I think that is a fair conversation to
That's
have.
a better job, by the way.
Odom, I think he has more East Coast roots.
Well, he was at UMBC, and so does Richard, for that matter.
But this is one that if you're in New Mexico, you don't want to lose your coach to South Florida. And that's the right conversation to have, is performance compensation. But if you lose your coach, you want to lose him to a $2+
what you feel is
million job, $3 million job, not South Florida at 1.7.
Yeah. What's a better job? VCU, I think it's in Richmond, playing the A-10, or South Florida in Tampa, and they play in the American. What's a better job?
VCU.
Why? I'm not sure I think that.
Because
a little
they
more
have
tradition?
The investment in basketball.
Okay.
They've shown that they can win through multiple years and multiple coaches.
So the USF job, from what I understand, they're promising investment in basketball, building a new basketball facility. They're putting money into basketball. That league, I would argue, is good moving forward. Now they're losing Houston, which is, look. But they got Memphis. They got this FAU team who's in the Final Four coming in. They got UAB in North Texas who are playing for the NIT final going into that league. Charlotte's going in, who just won the CBI. I'm not sure. I think they're comparable. And where do you want to live? You want to live in Tampa, or you want to live in Richmond? I've never been to Richmond. Been to Tampa. It's pretty nice. Ralph, you want to talk about Lobo basketball? You're on the Sports Animal. Hi, Ralph.
Hi, how's it going? I'd like to say, I'd like to see us pay Richard ourselves. I don't know where that money's going to come from. It's just going to come, but I think everybody should be involved. I think it should be, the city, with the people it could bring in too, as far as that goes. If we could continue to build this program, and even the state needs to kind of pitch in a little bit. But I think we need to stop worrying about this, but, pay the guy. I think New Mexico's the best place for him. I think the climate's great, and hopefully he wants to stay. But I think we should try to keep him if we can.
Yeah, appreciate you, Ralph. Thanks. I think there's going to be a point, no matter what you pay him, there's going to be a point where you can't pay him anymore, right? So let's just say, look, you got a guy living in VCU. He's making 1.7. He's going to Penn State for 3. At some point, there's going to be a job, and look. Can we be real? If UNM would have stayed on that trajectory, they were 14-0. If they finished that thing out, went to the tournament. Was it right before the bowl game or right after? I think it was right before when they were 14-0, 12-0, 13-0, something like that. I remember I came in one morning. I said, "Who's UNM's next basketball coach going to be?" And you looked at me and I said, "He's gone. Like if they continue on this path, they're going to the NCAA tournament. He turned this thing around in 2 years. He's gone. He's going to make a bunch of money, and you can't blame him. Like if they'd have won, convince me I'm wrong. If UNM would have, Jerry Palm just said if they didn't lose the 2 games with Jalen House, that they'd have gone to the NCAA tournament. So they were, before the NIT, they were 22-11, I believe. So let's say they win those 2 games, and so they're 20-9, 24.
He would
24-9, 25-8. They go to the NCAA tournament.
Essentially, that statement means he would have flipped them in Nevada.
Okay, maybe. Right? Okay, fair enough. Yes. So let's say he goes to Dayton. Let's say they got him into the NCAA tournament in his second year after what he inherited. Do we have any doubts he'd have been up for that Providence job? His alma mater, Big East, that just is paying. Ed Cooley just left and was making $3 million. And would you have any qualms?
But even more hype around him.
Well, yeah. Would there be any?
There would be qualms because fans get frustrated. But we got to, to me, no.
Qualms is a good word. Qualms. Sorry.
Everyone gets that. You can be mad all you want at Steve Alford. UCLA is a better job than New Mexico. Yeah. It doesn't mean you're not a good place. It doesn't mean you can't win basketball games. It doesn't mean you can't get to the NCAA tournament. Yeah. So if a guy leaves for a power conference job for $3+ million over the course of that contract, that's business. What you don't want is your coach having to flirt with or be rumored for our Twitter posts for schools that are just like you.
Or at least
USF
theoretically just like you. Yeah, they just have more money to pay coaches. And by the way, at some point this conversation is going to go over to football. Mm-hmm. It is everywhere else. When your football program starts winning, you're going to have this conversation there as well. At some point they're going to have to invest in football and basketball, and you're going to – and I know you don't want to hear it, but that's where it goes.
Yeah, and I think the right conversation this morning that we've gotten to is you are not paying a coach enough to keep him away from a power conference job. But are you going to do enough to where he'll only leave for that power conference opportunity as opposed to saying, hey, I'm going to go to the American Athletic Conference or the A10 because they can give me $500,000 more.
Dan says, reply to Ray, Jeffrey, Juan, Jose, y Ana Maria. As a businessman, you never give out a cycle raises. You never give out cycle raises because you don't want to set a precedent. If someone wants a 50-cent per hour raise, that amount means nothing to me. The problem is word will eventually get out to other employees, and they're not happy for that person. Instead, I have a line outside the door crying, if that guy got 50 cents, then I deserve 75 cents. You can't reward Patino for a mediocre season because then you have to do the same for Danny, for Heather Dyke. Where does it stop? I'm going to tell you it doesn't. Because the market's not coming down. So I get it, Dan. You theoretically, I totally understand that. But where does it stop? It doesn't. Where'd this go? What was Josiah Allick thinking? That's what this says. Tell you what he was thinking, what he might be thinking. The phone lines are open for you at 505. That's 505-246-0610. It's the opening drive. What was Josiah thinking? I'll tell you next on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Last year, you gave us books, and we gave you.
Too strong. It's going to be a rebound there by Brown. Brown gets it in. bucket there by Alter.
Crossover for Jackson. Salas steals the rebound and finds a cutting Mitchell at the rim.
Great move.
It's almost even in the foul territory, and Cueva looking to take advantage. Said Yates draws the foul, and one opportunity is said, gives the muscles down.
And it's 11-4, 38. Another turnover by Rio Grande. Montoya off the glass, up and in, back-to-back layups for the Demons.
Oh, was stolen away again by Valdez. Valdez is going to bring it out.
Valdez has to have around 3 or 4 steals. 3 by Mays.
Bingo! That one rattles in for Alyssa Mays, and the All-District Player of the Year has 12.
Penetrates, no foul call. Rodriguez lines one up and knocks down the 3. First basket of the night.
To back it out. Look at this deep 3. Wow! That was from NBA range.
What a steal. Stevison 2-on-1, gets up, gets it in.
He doesn't use it, comes back out to Dominguez, who takes a 3. Boom! There's that man, Superman.
Turns, shoots off. Oh,
Wow.
he made that.
Wow. That was crazy. That was a crazy shot.
Has everybody on him. Now he got open.
Open look for a 3, and that's what he does. A 3 for Denaclaw. His first bucket of the game. And that's a 3, and it'll count at the buzzer.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With You're Covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial.
What surprised me is apparently it's something that he kind of felt for the majority of the season. And at this point, when you've played as much basketball as Josiah Alec has, this was his opportunity to just think about himself. Not necessarily have to be the glue guy, energy guy,
defense around. I mean, he was out of position defensively, don't you think?
He was. You're like, hey, go guard Hunter Maldonado or Matt Bradley and have fun with that.
Right.
And Alec, he's taking advantage of the extra year and saying, I'm going to go somewhere. And even if it's not a program the stature of the University of Mexico, he wants to be a focal point. Yeah. And I think a lot of fans are like, okay, have fun with that. But he is looking at his game right now.
So what was he thinking is the subject line. What was he thinking is kind of what you said, right? He's got a impression in his mind of what his game is.
It feels like he wants a Morris Udeze role. He wants to be the main guy in the post. He wants to be fed the basketball.
Could he have been that next year? I guess if you're the coaching staff, and I'm going to yield to them, okay? I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know basketball like they do. I don't. I think I know it a little bit, but I don't know them. Could he have been Morris Udeze next year?
I've thrown it out there. I know there's a couple people that are like, you're crazy. Like, Alec at the 5 at times would not be terrible if you get some of the length and defense that you're talking about.
Well, you could run an offense through a high post or through a low post guy, and he's your 4.
Yeah,
and you can go high low with a bigger guy who's theoretically playing the 5, guarding the 5. I thought he was good when they had their high low game. When he was playing the high post, I thought he was good. I thought he was decent in the low post, but I don't think it's arguable that Udeze was better in the low post as a scorer than him, right? Is this arguable?
Not when you look at the numbers.
Well, I mean, just would your eyes tell you? Who's a better low post scorer? Doesn't mean Joe wasn't good. To me, Morris Udeze was better. But where does this go? And so what was he thinking? He thinks he's going to go somewhere, and he's going to get what he wants.
Alec, he's 55% from the field on 203 attempts.
Yeah, that doesn't mean he was bad.
It was 61% on 344 attempts.
Say those again.
So Alec had 203 field goal attempts.
Okay.
Now 38 of those were 3-point shots, but he shot 55% from the field.
Okay.
Udeze, 344 field goal attempts. Shot 61%.
Yeah, all right. That's all I'm saying. I mean, it doesn't mean Alec wasn't good. It just means Mo was the better option in the low post. Now, what would that have meant going forward? And look, this coaching staff knows way better than I do. And so he'll go find a spot where he can do that. And, I mean, wherever that is, good for him. I think he realizes he's not an NBA guy. He might get to play overseas. But I think there's also the realization that next year may be the final year he plays competitive basketball, and he wants to go do it his way. Good for him, man. It's a bummer for Lobo fan, but good for him if that's what he – so that's what he was thinking. That's what he was thinking. Deutsch says, where have all the good teams gone? Where have all the good teams gone? He wants it to be sung because it says sing it. I remember watching Lobo basketball play UConn in '99. Huskies blew my socks off. I remember thinking, wow, so that's what a number one seed looks like. They're more talented than Lobo basketball at every position. Where have those kind of clubs gone? This year, the number ones were lame. They got beat. So the best players, right, that insane talent is one and done to the NBA. College basketball looks different now, and those teams, again, in '99, JJ, if you just said we need to get old and stay old, people would go, what the hell are you talking about? Right? Now it's guys are staying longer because there's NIL. They're getting paid to play college basketball. And so there's more teams, deeper teams, talent pools spread around. And the insanely, like the Brandon Millers, who, by the way, didn't play well on a number one seed for Alabama, they're one and done, right? Those guys are in the NBA, correct? In regards to, if your eyes tell you these teams aren't as good as they were back in the day. And I'm not sure that I think that.
And those teams weren't even winning the national title at a high rate, the one-and-done teams.
Correct. Rod says, why isn't Addie going with you to the Final Four, Jefferson? She won't remember a lacrosse game 50 days from now, but she'll still remember Final Four 50 years later.
She might remember her lacrosse
Promise
games.
she will.
Oh, come on.
I offered her the option. I said, you want to go? She said, no, I can't miss these games. And, her Nana's in town. My mom's coming to town today. And she wants to play, man. She's like, Dad, I made a commitment. I'm going to play. I'm like, I respect that.
Me too.
I offered her, you want to go with me? She's like, no, I can't, Dad.
Trying to sell that San Diego State on her.
Okay. First of all, the applications now are going to go through the roof to San Diego State. You realize that? Like, this is the wrong year for them to do this. The year my kid's applying for college. So she's got to get in first. She's got to get accepted. She did say, now I don't know, I'm not going to hold her to this. Dad, if San Diego State wins the whole thing, I'm going to San Diego State.
Woo!
Now, I'm not pushing on her at all.
Does that mean she will go to UConn if UConn wins it all?
No, she didn't say that at all. Nor did she say that about FAU or Miami. But because she's been considering San Diego State, but I'm not pushing anything. Honestly, we're going to another school next Friday. We're going to go take a tour. She toured 4 schools last week during spring break. Like, I'm not pushing. This is her call. I want to expose her to whatever it is she wants to see. But no, man, she told her mom, I think, she's, well, at least you've already done that. I'm going to make my call here. She's like, I'm laying ground rules here. Yeah. I think it's great. When you chose colleges, like, did your parents push you to a place, or did they kind of let you guys go on your own?
They let me go on my own, but I needed help because I was being recruited for basketball, so
Yeah,
I was kind of overwhelmed.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, this is a big deal. I want her to go to a place where she feels
but
right.
you're also
I was told I had
17.
to go to CNM or I'd get kicked out of the house.
All right, well, fair enough. So you were kind of pushed towards a place. Yeah,
that's funny.
She's been really cerebral about this, Dad, and she broke down all these, all the 4 that she went to last week, and the pros and the cons, and why yes, and why maybe, and why no, and I'm proud of her.
Special thing.
Yeah, it is.
That's great on her because I definitely did not have that.
I applied
where to go. How far can my gas money this week get?
Seriously,
get me downtown.
I applied to 2 schools. If I didn't get into either one of them, I don't know what I would do. Jack says couldn't disagree with J.J. Moore. See, you love this.
Here we go.
This is on what's a better job, VCU or University of South Florida. He couldn't disagree with J.J. Moore, Jeff. If my decision is to live in Logan or live in Tampa, and I'm getting paid more money to do it, there's no decision. Well, I
never said that. The Logan or Tampa.
Right.
Of course I said it's better.
Yeah, Jack. All right, what's a better job, Utah State or VCU?
I've never been to Richmond. That's where it is, right?
Yeah, or Utah State or USF.
I think Utah State, USF are comparable jobs, but they're the money.
Yeah.
Even if it's just $500,000 more, or wherever you sit, and where you live.
Yeah.
Like Logan versus South Florida.
How do you're
taking South Florida?
Well, because
there's a lot. The community dynamics are in play in Logan.
This is an interesting one because basketball coaches say I want to be in a basketball school, right? And I would argue, I don't know, is Utah State a football or basketball school?
They've shown you that they can
be both.
Yeah.
This
level.
They've had success at basketball. They get great support, way more support than USF does.
Absolutely.
But, and I've never recruited for a college basketball team, but I'm going to guess it's a hell of a lot easier to recruit to Tampa than it is to Logan, Utah. Now, I've never done either. But, so which is a better job?
Those are the factors that would push you one way or another. And every Utah fan this morning is acting exact same way a Lobo fan would act.
Why would he go?
Why would they make that jump? And you want to be in a position where that's not the jump your coach is making.
Yeah. Richard says his bracket, he picks the clubs that have the most talented cheerleaders or chaparrals, and his top 2 seeds, Texas and Alabama, were eliminated last week. So he says, I need to research which of the squads remain the strongest. Thank you, Richard. Appreciate your contribution. All right, guess who's back?
Back again.
Hall of Famer emailer is back next. We'll wrap up everything you need to know. Drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am an Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Check it out.
What is it?
It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early.
I already get my paycheck early at U.S. Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with U.S. Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with U.S. Eagle.
Time machine.
Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes.
Wait, what?
Seth?
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers. We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a #1. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With your covered from U.S. Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling, and we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At U.S. Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed.
Morning, appreciate all of the feedback. Jackson's reply to Ralph and JJ, he's basically saying exactly what you said. He said if some AD pulls a Chris Jans and shows up with $2.3 million check in his hand, does it really make a difference if Nunez is searching the couch cushions for loose change so he can pay Patino $950 instead of $800K? No. And that's been JJ's point. If some guy's coming with 2.3 or 3 million or right a power conference job, you're not keeping him. You just don't want to lose your coach, is what JJ's saying. I think this is where most fans are, to South Florida or VCU. If Mississippi State, Providence, Cal, power conference school comes calling, then you kind of get it. This is what you're trying to avoid, and this was why this conversation was today. Was, you know, where are you and where should you be and what's right? And I asked the question, if you would have read this week that Richard Pitino is leaving and took a job at South Florida for $1.7 million, how would you have felt about that? And you'd have struggled with that, I think, because you feel your program's better than theirs. even though they're offering him damn near or more than double what he's making now. Okay, so that's all, and it kind of tied into the conversation earlier this week about.
And it really is a good conversation because it encompasses 90% of the Mountain West as a whole.
Well, you're seeing it happen at Utah State
because
right now.
Ryan Odom is in the same position, and that fan base is saying the same exact thing. Why would you leave Utah State for South Florida? Now, we look at it, and I just pulled it up. That's actually where he began his coaching career.
Yeah,
was at South Florida as a graduate assistant. He's from North Carolina. He spent the majority of his life, his career, on the East Coast. So that makes sense. It does in that regard. Is if the pool is a little bit more money, comfortable, you could quote unquote see a lateral move there.
Look, there's also
and Logan's not easy to get to, man.
And
like
Logan's tough. But
the fan support is awesome. You can win in Logan, but you are also asking families. You got to fly into Salt Lake City. You got to drive up. You never know if you're gonna be able to get through those mountains.
Well, it's a special athlete you're recruiting there too because of the environment there. I mean, it's an LDS community, and while it's a state school, it's you've got to. And I've had conversation with their former athletic director about this and recruiting people and the culture change, and how you're recruiting there. And look, when you're talking about any of the coaches, you just said families, and it's a big deal. Where's your wife from? How does she feel living in? Pick your city, and where do they want to be? Where are you from? Where's your family? Who do you want to be close to? And at some point, you get to a point in your career where you can be a little more selective, and you can be wherever it is you want to be. And as beautiful as Logan or Albuquerque or Boise may be, if your tie is to South Florida, to Providence, to BC, Richmond, whatever, that's going to play into it as well.
And so I think that's what pushes someone like Ryan Odom over the top. I think in most cases you could do enough to where if Ryan Odom saved from the Pacific Northwest, it probably would not have blossomed in South Florida right now. That's a little bit different.
No, there's a lot to that.
And I think a lot of people too would probably be listening going, well, you're saying all these things about Logan, Utah. JJ, what makes Albuquerque great? It's the same things, but like,
no, you're right.
I've traveled around the Mountain West Conference. I've tried to get to a lot of these places. Like Albuquerque, look at the fan support, the basketball, the commitment to basketball, getting in and out. Like when we're having these conversations about like places, it's a pretty good destination in the Mountain West.
That's right. Jason is back. Your boy Jason, and on Underperforming. Good morning, OD. Guess who's back? Back in the 575. I actually started an email about Jason Huttenheier, but the topic of underperforming came across the airwaves. So the thought in the 505 is, quote, global basketball did not underperform. In fact, they're right on schedule, end quote. Okay, let's ask. If NMSU got off to a 14-0 start with a beefy schedule with 3 potential all-first-team, all-league players, 2 guards who are trying to be NBA draft guys who are on the fringe, and a big who will be playing professionally, and then finished 3rd in its conference in Jason Hooten's second year, would Lobo fan or any savvy basketball fans say, wow, the Aggies are right on track? Or, wow, NMSU collapsed and what a disappointment for them, end quote. I submit every roster year to year is so different that it is no longer about building programs, so every year is a new opportunity. This is an argument that should not be looked at through the lens of 2001. In this era, you can turn your roster over in a year. So you can go from a bad team to a good team in 1 year and vice versa. Ask Wyoming and CSU. Since coaches can turn a roster over quickly, it's no longer about building a program. You build a team every year. So Lobo fans should be disappointed with starting 14-0 and being bounced from the NIT in the first round. I know I would be. Heck, just being in the NIT would be a disappointment, but that's UNM's goal every year. Anyway, I have thoughts on the Huttenheier, but we'll leave that for later. Glad to be back on the 575 Crimsonly. Jason. All right, so from his perspective, an Aggie fan perspective, you should be disappointed. Okay, look, I don't think it was a disappointing season. I know where the program was, but the perspective of you add what people are telling me is the best backcourt in the league, maybe in the West.
But here's the thing. That wasn't the team that played over its head. Where the program was not who they were this year. We're starting Mano Quach at the 5. Like you brought in experienced D1 players the last 2 years. And so that's where I lean towards. I understand the feeling of disappointment. I think the future is positive. I believe in Richard Pitino, his coaching staff, the players that they've brought into this point, the players that they're going to bring in. But in the moment, that was a missed opportunity last year.
Yeah, I think it could be both, by the way. It can be a missed opportunity, but not underperforming. I mean, they had an opportunity to do something special. And so if you're basing your expectations on the first 2 months, yeah, then it was a disappointment. If you look at the overall, but to Jason's point, it's got to be year to year. You're building a team year to year. His point on Wyoming and Colorado State, certainly Wyoming was decimated by injuries. There's another coach, by the way. If they had won this year, Jeff Linder would have been a hot piece, right? He'd be gone. Right? How long would he be still at Wyoming? Yeah, it's what it is. All right. Anything else? Watching the NIT. All right. I'm glad you're watching the NIT. I think we're good. I think I got most of what you wanted. Right on cue because
right
you're
on cue.
music.
Perfect timing.
All right. Thank you to Jerry Palm. You know what? The ones you sent on the text that I didn't get to, I will get them to you tomorrow because there are a bunch there and I hadn't checked them. Jim Rome Show is next. Heard with Colin Cowherd after that. 2 Men On comes your way at 4 o'clock. We're back tomorrow morning with award-winning radio at 7 a.m. Jerry Palm was with us today. Thanks to him. Adrian, great work. As always, Anne-Marie, terrific job.
Thank you.
Big day for you, huh? I didn't even know you had softball yesterday. I was out there. I called the walk-off by Jake Holland in baseball. Softball beat the Aggies. Be good to each other, please. Have a great day. Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. We'll see you tomorrow.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Sometimes it's the small things that make life easier, like never worrying about being declined at an ATM when only cash will do. With your covered from US Eagle, we'll cover you, even if the money's not there. That's a good feeling. And we do it with no extra fees or penalties. It's called trust, and we think that's important, especially if we're asking you to trust us. At US Eagle, that's just part of what it means when we say people mean more.
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network and New Mexico Youth Sports. Air Force Special Warfare operators are critical thinkers. They maintain a high level of fitness, they take initiative, and they don't quit. For more information on Air Force Special Warfare, contact me at the number listed below.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credit, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com today.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Check it out.
What is it?
It's a time machine, bro. I could jump into the future, get my paycheck early.
I already get my paycheck early at US Eagle.
Get your paycheck up to 2 days early with US Eagle Early Payday. Now's a great time to have your checking with US Eagle.
Time machine.
Your girlfriend breaks up with you in 22 hours, 53 minutes.
Wait, what?
Seth?
Hi everyone, my name is Master Sergeant Jacob Groves. I am a Air Force Special Warfare Pararescueman. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Network.